She's like, who the fuck cut your hair?
I told her I did. I was like, I did. I was like, I know. You don't have to tell me.
Was she nice about it?
Well, she was joking.
She's kind of like,
she's like, your bangs are too short, and you cut. She's like, you cut yourself over here. I'm like, I know. So I got my hair cut by professional because I butchered it yesterday.
Friends.
Hi, friends.
I got on my tight shirt.
Ooh, he's wearing his tight shirt today.
I would say this is my most metrosexual shirt.
I would say so too.
I'm feeling
it really is.
Extremely metrosexual.
Oh my gosh,
today.
you're so metro right now.
Hi there. You have that product I use for my hair? You know which one I'm talking about, right? You just sort of dab that right there. It's just.
Oh yeah. Huh.
London Bridge is falling down. Falling down. All of the sayings of your life. That's one of them. There's one of the sayings of your life, Kevin Chen. Is London Bridge is falling down. Falling down.
London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Mm-hmm.
Take the bricks and build it up, something like that. Take the bricks and build it up, my fair lady. It's something like that. Like you put it back again.
Yeah. It's an old saying.
It's an old saying.
One old saying is Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb is not exactly an old saying. It's more like a song.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing here, but that's fine. We'll go with London Bridges. That's a fine saying. Sure. If we're in all the sayings of his life, then yeah, we have to include it.
You know what's funny is that the London Bridge, like, it's like not even the bridge that they're talking about when you think of London Bridge. Like, when you're in London, there's a bridge, but it's not called the London Bridge.
Oh, no, London Bridge is in Lake Havasu.
Yeah, it's not in London.
It's have you ever been to Lake Havasu?
No.
You've never seen London Bridge, yeah?
No,
it's weird. It's like they kind of like got a bridge that looked like an old bridge from Old England or something.
Cool.
And they moved it out in the middle of the desert for no reason.
That's so funny.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch. That's good advice, Hambone.
That is. I don't know what that means.
I mean, your chickens aren't chickens yet. They're still eggs until the eggs hatch.
There's actually some fishies in the tank that are preggers.
So we got pregnant fish?
We got pregnant fish in there. There's a lot. Actually, it's a whole ecosystem in there right now.
Okay, well, I think Hambone may be the father.
I am done cutting my hair, and yes, I have had.
It's because Hambone, we had the whole COVID thing, so we had to half-assedly self-cut it, and then she kept trying to fix it and just making it worse and worse.
Exactly.
So finally, we went to the barber shop.
I was like, "Fuck this." I'm going to the barber, and I did, and I like it. I'm happy. I'm really happy.
So I'm gonna pull this bowl, the first post Napa bowl that I've had.
I like that you can see my grays. Don't you?
I can't see them. What is it? I guess it's
like by
one
my
right
eye.
there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a little light one.
Yeah.
They don't look gray so much. They look like reddish, kind of.
Oh.
You basically have a similar haircut to the haircut that my mom had her whole life. It's just not quite as. It's a little like not as poofy, but
yeah,
it's basically the same haircut that my mom has had her whole life.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So you're used to this cut.
Yes, I'm used to girls with short hair.
That's nice. No, that's a really nice thing. I spoke with him before getting it done. I was like, I'm gonna get a pixie cut. I call it pixie cut. I was gonna say, well, I said boy cut. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I did what you did, but in reverse, went to the barber, but it didn't look very good, so my family had to fix it. Group effort. That's great. That's great that your family was able to fix your hair. Thanks, Octavia Silva. I appreciate it.
Clean up in the Valentine's aisle.
Thank you. Oh, no.
It's like Octavia Silva knocked over a whole Valentine's Day greeting card display.
Thanks, Dave. Yes, it was. I feel so Hallmark loved. Yes, thank you. That's my Hallmark story. During COVID.
Benzie Deluxe broke up with his girlfriend today.
Oh no.
Sorry to hear that. Well, I mean, you broke up with her, so.
And thank you, Zealand. If I didn't say it, thank you.
Why did you break up with her? Did she have a terminal illness? That's a good reason to break up with somebody. Just joking.
Yo, y'all. To CJ O'Connell. I also want to apologize to Frank James because I don't have anything against him at all.
She's actually a fan of his.
A huge fan.
From what I
during a live stream, he really helped me out one time just by having a live stream. I'm a huge fan since I've known Eric, and I just told the story wrong. It is funny. I do say his name backwards very often.
Broccoli Todd, yes, that's called pulling a newt. Oh, you got cancer? Here's my divorce.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he did that.
Yeah, I never really signed up for this whole cancer thing, you know. In sickness and health, I don't know if you realize, but look at the fine print over here, except cancer. So you got the wrong disease, lady. See you later. Isaiah Root pointed out that I did indeed make a video called How to Tell What's Important to You. It's funny. I'm sure it's terrible, though, okay? We can agree on that. It's a terrible video.
Hey, Lamar. Who's Freddie?
Freddie Forgiato? Well.
That sounds like a guy I know who, his name Frankie Fortunato. Isn't that so close?
Looks like he's got what's typically known as a Chinaman's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chinaman's hat. And
I used to have one of those. Maybe I still have it around here somewhere. I used to have one of those Chinaman hats that they're great for gardening, you know.
Yep.
Sounds Italian. Freddie Forgiato. Are you Italian?
Hats, y'all. Hambone, you sound like you're in a good mood.
I agree with the statement that certainly it's the case for me anyway. That I agree with the first half of that. I feel responsible for other people's emotions. So in other words, in any given setting, if there's some sort of let's say there's a group thing and somebody's not, you know, there's conflict or people aren't happy or whatever, or whatever, then I'm gonna probably feel as though, well, let me fix this. So I want to make sure that if basically I respond to people's complaints by trying to fix the situation. So yeah, I do feel responsible for people's feelings. I don't feel like the other part of that you said was a little bit different, which is you said and deeply feel others' emotions. I don't deeply feel others' emotions. I do feel responsible for others' emotions. So it's like
that's really a good thing. Weird, kind of silly question, but do you guys feel like lots of coffee, weed, and cigs would make you feel like jittery, like you need to do something, even talk?
I mean, for me, coffee, weed, and cigarettes don't do anything, basically. So it's just certainly occasionally if I smoke a lot of weed, I'll get like the drug sweats or something. But
yeah, me too.
No, it doesn't make me jittery. None of those things make me jittery per se. I just naturally have. I need to talk quite a bit. We were saying earlier, we were talking about Mark Twain and Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
I was saying, think about how it was for Mark Twain. He didn't have any vent or like press release for needing to talk. So, oh yeah, I mean that's true. I don't want to hear your sad story at all because it'll make me sad. Or
I feel
like
bad. I always feel so bad. I don't ever.
But I don't think I'm feeling their emotions. It's like I don't know what emotions they're feeling really at all. It's not like it's like when Horace Walpole started telling the story of his ex-girlfriend attempting suicide, and the thing that part of the story that I really didn't want to hear was the part where he said something like, her family like didn't I don't know, basically like her family wouldn't have even noticed or something like that, he sort of painted this grim picture of people not caring for each other at all in a way that depressed me. It had nothing to do with any other specific person's feelings. It's odd because I periodically do have that understanding. I have that conscious awareness and think, okay, well, remember to think about how they might be feeling too. But when I hear a certain story that, like, let's say I don't ever read articles that include, if there's an article that has any of the following things in the title or that suggests it's about any of the following things, I don't want to read it at all. Animal abuse, gang rape, or both. I don't want to even. It's like if there's some awful thing like that's happened, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to read any stories about it. I don't even want to see the headlines about it. Certainly, I don't want to read any sort of description of a detailed set of events about what happened, because that's going to sear into my brain this awfulness. But it's not like I'm empathizing for the other person, really. It's something different. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's more like I'm being forced to include NI entities on my external metaphysical field that I don't want to. How do you deal with a friend, non-relationship crying in front of you? I'd probably be. I'd be nice. I certainly wouldn't be condemnatory. I try to comfort the person, I guess.
Is that my Coke?
It can be if you'd like it to be. Or that one could be it right there. So, I mean, like if it were a male friend crying, presumably then there would have been probably a relationship breakup or something like that. And I would be like, lots of fish in the sea or whatever.
Okay, the rest is yours.
All right, cool.
So either put it in the fridge or.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll come in and grab it in a second.
By the way, your haircut is very becoming. It suits your facial features.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget the garbage tomorrow.
I was telling her she has kind of the same haircut that Mom's had her whole life.
That's funny.
It's a little less poofy.
Yeah.
It's less poofy, but same shape.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's nice. Hey, that barber is good. Next time.
By the way, the Colonel could take lessons from Pollo Lope. That is really good chicken.
Yeah, it's good.
exciting.
See, this is the thing. CJ O'Connell and everybody else. It's not as though there aren't a shit ton of negative consequences of the whole COVID lockdown shit and the whole first COVID. Huge negative consequences. But nobody seems to be really talking about them in a meaningful way. Like nobody's saying, well, suicides are way up, for example.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I believe it.
So,
I feel like I've been dealing with that that funk a little bit. It's a total shift in lifestyle.
Well, it creates such cognitive dissonance in any TI user because it's not this bullshit health safety theater thing we're all doing it's the worst kind of abdication of moral responsibility. Everyone goes, well, we don't have to understand. We don't have to know. We don't have to think. We can just fear.
Yeah.
And that's good enough justification for things.
Yeah, definitely.
It hurts my soul.
Me too.
Let me see what this says here.
That is wicked nice.
Let's use wicked, CJ O'Connell. That's very Boston of you.
Yeah, it is.
Perhaps high FE equals affected by the concept of negative events. High FI affected by other emotional responses to negative events. Maybe. It's like, it would be the case if somebody specifically is crying, but I don't know. It's confusing to me. It's like, what's going on here with this emotional stuff? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I empathize with you because it's hard for me to identify with what I am feeling and where it's coming from and why.
The thing is,
I know
I operate mostly like I'm not feeling anything specific, but I am more or less emotional. Been pissed off the last few weeks. Somebody needs to get his poke on. You need to get your poke on, Hambone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hambone. What's pissed you off?
My lack of getting his poke on.
COVID? That would piss me off too. I've been pissed off as well, as you guys have seen. It looks like you got sun.
I got sun.
You always have a sunny complexion.
Walter White's an INTJ.
Yeah. He's a good example, I think, of an INTJ. Gone bad.
Right.
You know?
Well,
I always knew he was an INTJ.
Well, the interesting thing is he didn't start off being so bad, you know?
Right.
He was just solving his problems.
I wish I knew.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think they're important, right? Or my feelings aren't important. I feel like feelings aren't right.
I mean,
in
the sixth law, presumably you countervalue it. But what I would say is this: that you have to remember what it means to countervalue FI. If you're not feeling good or whatever,
yes,
then it's not just a matter of, well, you're feeling bad. It's that this is for you. It's like, see, this is why I hate feelings. This is why I hate them.
Yeah.
But for me,
gather data to support whatever it is that I'm feeling, and I'm about that. But I still don't. It's not clearly directed towards anything. So I have all this fucking data like a computer sometimes, and it gets very confusing what to believe, what not to believe. And the easiest thing is just to go with the lead and you know, but fuck.
Well, I mean, it's like when I'm feeling emotional, it's usually because I haven't gotten enough sleep, and when I'm emotional, then all that means is I feel basically I'm probably like a normal person more. I'm feeling all the emotions more. So it's always the case that certain kind of thing will make me tear up really easily, like certain things I'm hearing, the stories that I'm listening to, or things in movies. You know, I'm very media work that's trying to work on my emotions has an easy road because I'm open to that.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah. He's if a good director is expecting a certain, I think good directing, good writing will get an effect out of you.
Right. So it's like if you did a good, well, actually, no matter what kind of job you did with your movie, if you just had, if a film director was to watch a film of just my face and my body watching their movie the whole time, and I wasn't aware of it, they probably, my body language would probably tell the story of the movie the whole time.
It'll know when it's really intense because you go outside to smoke a cigarette or something. Yeah. It's so cute. It's just like a little kid. It is just like babysitting a little kid watching an older movie. You know, they're like, you know, not supposed to be really watching it or something, but they're like, hey, can we watch it? And I'm like, of course you can, because I don't care. I'm not your parents.
This is where dimensionality comes in a little bit. I don't know. I don't ascribe to socionics dimensionality idea that your dominant function, you have 4 dimensions. But it does seem to me that my FI exists in 1 dimension, which is to say it exists in real time as an experience that I don't really pay a lot of explicit attention to myself, but that it goes away as the mood of whatever's I'm watching or reading changes. So it's like that's how I think of emotions in general. Okay, well, in this part of the story, I'm happy. Rachel will look over to me. Really happy because during that part of the story, Egwene was enslaved by the Demani, and that part of the story I didn't like it because it was more like you know they were making you not like the bad guys more.
Yeah,
so the good guys were getting hurt a little bit and stuff. Mm-hmm. I didn't like to read that part. It made me like
it's intense. Yeah.
So then, but the point is, for me, life's like that too. It's not just how I feel about books, how I feel about my own life too. And the thing that when I do get upset most of all is when life's not like that. So for example, let's say Rachel and I were to get into a fight and then she'd go to bed and we didn't argue about it. I argued out before I went to bed. Well, then it's going to be in emotion. I have to feel emotions from then until it's all the way until it's resolved. And it's like, that's what I call being in limbo.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's not critiquing you at all. What I call being in limbo, though, is really having to use introverted feeling rather than having to willfully include it rather than just responsibly include it.
Which you do very well.
I hate being in limbo.
Very well. Like you ponder and like you really think hard about it.
Well, I just think that when I'm being asked to use FI in 2 dimensions, that is to say, don't just experience it in the moment responsive to what's happening in front of you, but reflect upon your life based on how you're feeling or something. That's a normal part of anybody's process, but it's what I call somebody forcing me to be stuck in limbo. In other words, I need to know the narrative outcome of this emotion now so I can bypass the emotion part.
I totally get you, man. I totally get you. I mean, I feel like that was TE, right? Okay, so I actually don't mind cooking, but I don't know when it's going to happen because I am deathly like cringe about people in the kitchen when I'm in the kitchen doing my thing. I don't like people over my shoulder. And, you know, that's something I'm going to have to get over.
No, it's not. It's not something you have to get over. It's something that the shoulder looker overs need to deal with, or we structure it. So, for example,
if you help, it's
look,
usually
here's the
different.
thing. You don't like it when I look over your shoulder. At least on 1 or 2 occasions has been the case where Rachel's pulled the ultimate winning move when somebody's being too intervening, which is, do you want to do it? You know. But so she doesn't like it when I maybe you want to try to, but I sometimes I have to because she's doing this TE retardation thing that's just like, okay, don't do that. Well, what was
it? Was vacuum. Last
else.
time, I don't remember.
Well, it's just
like the one that I remember one time was like I was trying to get in the crevices of the.
Oh yeah, the vacuum.
And I kept on hitting, like, because I kept on hitting it, you know, because I'm like, I'll get it at some point. And you're like, just use. You're like, you don't need to do it that way. You could do it this way.
Yeah, why don't you use the wand part?
Yeah. You're not mean about it.
No, I know, but I get it being irritated by it too because.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what, like this morning, Rachel wanted to print a picture so that she'd show it to the barber. And so we printed it, we were out of paper. And I went to go put some paper. I couldn't find any paper. And then I realized, well, there's 2 trays in the printer. So I need to split it. So I'll have paper in the bottom tray and the top tray, so that way it'll print. Well, as I'm in the process of doing this, Dad gets home. It's just like, oh, here we go. It's like literally, I put the paper. So I put the paper in the proper tray, and he comes in and basically dismantles what we're doing. So we're no longer printing now, even though we're about to print.
And he doesn't understand.
He doesn't get that. The reason I'm putting the paper in there is because I'm solving this problem. I don't want your assistance. You're making it more difficult, not less difficult. So what ends up happening? I'm like, Dad, I don't want your assistance. And he's like, well, then you go and use the printer then. I'm like, well, then fine, fuck off. Let's go. Rachel, come on. We'll print someplace else. I don't give a fuck. And then of course he's like, no, just print. Don't be. He tries to turn it on me. Now don't be like that, Eric. What the fuck? You don't be like that. I was in no need of any assistance at all.
That is justice. That's a great, yes, baby, yes.
I was not seeking any assistance.
No, you were not.
I was just doing a normal thing. I was adding paper to the printer.
We were gonna figure out, and you know what the problem was?
What?
Under my phone, it was because it was a photo, it was being printed as a photo, so it needed photo paper, which is 4x6. So that's why I was using the top one, not the bottom one. So then I switched it to letter form instead, and it was fine.
Okay, no problem.
We would have been able to we would have figured it out on our own.
Right.
We didn't. It was very.
I mean,
we both were like, no, we don't need your help.
Yeah, and that's something that I have to consider with lots of stuff around here is depending on what I'm thinking about doing or whatever, there's a decent chance that a given event, let's say I'm going outside to grab a roll of paper towels. Very simple event, and I will be back in a second. And anytime I leave where I'm doing, or it could just arrive at could come to me at any moment as well. A given activity like get a roll of paper towels could turn from a simple go get a roll of paper towels into Dad intercepted me. And now it's a big conversation with a bunch of big complications that are unnecessary. When it's not, I'm not just getting a roll of paper towels. I'm getting a conversation about, maybe we can structure the acquisition of paper towels long term in this following fashion, or it's just like, okay, can I just get a fucking roll of paper towels?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I have literally had my dad multiple occasions do things like instruct me on how to use the toaster.
Oh, stop.
Every time I use it, I get some instructions about it. It's like, Dad, I know how to use the toaster. I know how to use the microwave. I know you don't like I'm not doing it exactly how you would do it, but it works still. Whoa. How are you holding that fork there, Eric? That's not how you use a fork to food to your mouth. Daddy, it's working just fine. I'm not starving.
I know. I remember one time we were eating and he explained how the person who didn't have who learned how to cut right the last would have to stay last or whatever. Or like there would be repercussions. And I was like, what? I was like, can you just let me like cut my steak like a little kid? Like no one ever taught me how the proper way to hold a fork and knife.
I knew you were in trouble when it came time for you to touch the pellet gun in front of my dad.
Oh yeah.
There was just no way you were not going to get scolded.
Yeah, he was.
And of course, Rachel did not hand as he. I've actually internalized so much of this shit that I don't even know. I don't even realize how much I've been trained by my father. You know, I would never hand anything sharp or anything to my dad except perfectly because of my childhood. Son, that is not how you hand scissors to somebody. So
well, I got it too.
You got it with the pellet gun.
But I also got it too with my mom. Scissors, like I used to, like.
That is not how you put dishes in the dishwasher. That is not how you put dishes in the dishwasher.
How? How then? You do it then.
Right.
Right? Which ends up happening.
No. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Like, you know what? I'm not going to fight this fight.
Like those glasses there, right?
Yeah.
I want to bring some of them back because like we don't use all of them. But what I'm going to do, even though I hand wash them and they're fucking great, I'm still going to put them in the dishwasher because I think, adequacy.
Oh, you know what? That's not going to be a problem. The idea that my dad would complain because the glasses aren't clean enough wouldn't happen. He would complain because he doesn't like the way you're completing a given task, me or me, either one of us. It had nothing to do with the reason he doesn't like the way we're doing that task is because it's not how he imagines it being done.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with whether or not it's an effective approach.
I know.
I mean, if we're being obviously ineffective, then he'll be right about that. But things like, put these ones in the back and these ones before it. It may be a good approach, but it's totally unnecessary.
No, it is. I know. Is TE linked to SI?
Well, I would say that, in my opinion, TE seems much more strongly linked to SE than any other function, because the reason is that how do you test, let's say, extroverted intuition? You test it with introverted intuition or introverted thinking, depending on what kind of argument it is. Or I guess you could test it with FI too if you were ENFP or something.
True.
But how do you test extrovert thinking? Well, remember, it's not a judging function, so it's not really making judgments per se. It's an interface function. It's managing a trip. It's like if you are an action deliberator type, you have to manage walking from here to over there, and it's all one big. Okay, we got one big push through. If you're an interface type, it's all about successfully handling, like getting these people to pass you off. You have to interface with either the people, the dynamic system of the people, or the dynamic system of a physical system. That is to say, where each system has its own logic to it. So SE is how you test TE. Am I going to be able to successfully fix the door this way? Well, let me wiggle this and see what happens. And then you realize, no, I just broke it more.
It happens.
Well, fuck it. Let's just not fix it anymore. Now I'm tired of fixing it. I don't want to fix it anymore. I broke it more, and now I'm just tired of it. Now we'll just let it sit there for a year and a half, like my guitar, right? One day, Eric had the brilliant idea I went to a yard sale and there was a random guitar pickup there. And I was like, how cool. This random old guitar pickup. I don't know what it is from, where it came from, what is it. I'm going to go home with this cool garage sale purchase. And I'm going to replace one of the humbuckers in my guitar with this single coil pickup. How fun. That'd be easy. That'd be like a 15-minute project. The fuck?
Show them?
Yeah, look what my guitar has been like this ever since. Because I'm so dumb
Oh my god.
that I still haven't learned anything.
Oh my god. I would love there. You know the one that Kurt Cobain had. The
When the Courtney killed him for?
Yep. That you know that one, right? It's like blue. It's like a robin's egg blue, kind of aqua
Yeah, I know what
color
you're talking
one.
about.
Yeah, I like that one. What's a hot ass guitar? Ho ho ho. And cheerio, Federico. Federico. I think I'm gonna have no duels next. Do we have any?
Yes, we do. What am I looking for?
I ask myself that every day.
That's one of my favorite questions. Why am I standing here? Is another one of my favorite
Sorry.
questions.
Fix what?
Oh wow, fix what? Let me see what this thing here. The idea of having as an absolute value the function which deals instrumentality is a curious thing, huh? It is. And the way it plays out is when you have a TE DOM, especially like my dad. He doesn't need to be aware of this, but he's sometimes even creating problems to solve. Certainly, he's looking for things that he could solve, but he also has this game he likes to play called, oh no, now I'm gonna have to take care of that stuff there. God, it's like you can imagine somebody who's worked on a project like building somebody a doghouse or whatever, but they get over there and they're working on it and they realize that the person's done most of the work themselves, and it's kind of not how the helpers envisioned it. Like, let's say I invite Cameron over to help me build a doghouse, and I've started already on it, and Cameron's like, this isn't what I envisioned. And Cameron would be like, oh, did I step on it? Oh shit, I broke that. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was an accident. I guess I'm gonna have to do it all myself now. That's what my dad does constantly.
Oh my gosh, yes. I will credit having a TE DOM mother for certain skills, life skills. Like, I know how to use it. I do know how to use a laundry. I do my laundry. I know how to wash dishes by hand because of her. I know how to clean my room, basically, like vacuum. I know how to save money because of her. I know just simple practical things that she would be on me about. But one thing that I just was just like, this is so stupid. We have in New York Keurig, and it's just a single cup Keurig. So what I do is I take the water from the mug and I pour it in. But my mom always says to me, no, here, take this measuring cup. It's flexible and rubber, so it's easier to pour in. And I'm like, Mom, it doesn't make a difference. I want the amount that's in the cup. Like, I can't figure out the amount that's in the cup from the measuring cup. It's not the same. Every single time I would do it, until one day finally I was like, Mom, what is the difference? And she couldn't answer me. So then, I was able to do it my way, but I was still doing it the wrong way.
Because basically, if you're a TE DOM like that, she's approaching everything that happens, especially TESI. How can I have a way that I do it that makes this maximally efficient?
Yeah.
And I can go back to again and again. And so if you're approaching something without that same basic frame, the ESG goes, can you just stop for a second? Like,
yes.
I just can't stand it. Like you're not in a TESI frame. You're never gonna have a heuristic that's familiar and repeatable like this.
I will say so. Like, I will say ESTJs are really like family dominant too, because there have been times like when I think I've talked about on here how there was a job that I worked at as a paralegal, and some shady business was going down, and my manager said something to me that made me lie, and I felt cornered, and it was like shady business, right? Okay, so my dad advises me like, oh, pick up your britches, like that's life, like you're gonna enter that all over the place. I'm like,
wrap some dirt on it, kid.
But my mom, with my last job as a real estate agent, administrative office person, she was like, fuck those people. She was like, you worked so hard for them every single weekend. You hardly ever took off. You never complained. You worked you took other people's shifts. Like, she saw how hard I worked. So she was like, fuck those people. Let's go visit grandma. So, ESTJs, when it comes to family, and certain things, they'll have your back, like, pretty much like no matter what, because you're like family. They take it. It's important.
I mean, yeah. Well, the thing is, ESTJ will have your back in the every practical sense.
Right.
But they may not be they may be not anywhere close to the same page as you're on regarding the narrative.
No.
So it's like my dad and my family was supportive when I needed to leave kudos because I got fired. She breached contract. It's some really super shady ass shit, right? But my family and everybody close to me, including Corey and my now ex-wife Candace, and to a lesser extent my parents, but them too were like they kept thinking that the problem here was me, that I was playing Fall on Your Sword or something. Like, I'm drawing the line here. Up 10 plays 48. Really? Do you have no manners at all?
I like it. And thanks. Yeah, to my mom. She went so far as to be like, thanks, Sailor Black. I love it too. It was Eric actually took me to the barber that he goes to. Mexican lady, and she did an excellent job. And I got to watch some Mexican soap operas while we were at it. Yep.
That's.
She's like, look, isn't it funny? And I was like, yeah, it is really funny. It was like obvious humor. And I didn't have to know all of the language to get it, so it was funny. Yeah, my mom was going to go into the fucking office and like basically like ream my manager out, and I was like, Mom, no. No. I'm 33 at the time. I'm like, you are not. I am 33. I'm piecing out on them. Like, do not. I can handle this by myself. Like, I'll write them an email. I'll say it, like, here's my resignation letter, like, blah, blah, blah. As of today, I resign from blah, blah. But I'm not having you are not going inside. That's too much.
Thank you, I think we're noticing this new foundation I've been using.
Right?
Oh, wait. She was talking to me, right?
She was, of course. Okay. What do you use on your face, Eric?
I start with foundation. Then I put rouge all along here. I come up with some mascaras. I put them right there.
Uh-huh.
And I get your eyelashes. Uh-huh. Eyelashes blackness. I put that right there. And then I get a little bit of nose glitter. Sprinkle it right there. And I have 2 small feathers that I like to attach right there just for a little pizzazz.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
That's how you put on your makeup. Remember, it's mostly foundation, and rouge in layers. Put a foundation of rouge, a foundation of cream, a foundation of a layer of foundation, a layer of cream, a layer of rouge, a layer of foundation, layer of cream, layer of rouge.
Thanks, Alma. I feel snazzy. I got the idea from Cara Delevingne. She has similar hair to mine. So I knew that if she could pull off the look, then I could pull off the look.
And I can tell you the truth is my beard is the source of all the beard oils that other people put in there.
It's true. Look at this beard.
Every night before I go to bed, I put a tap on here. And in the morning, I've got a whole jar full of essential beard oils. They come from my beard. That's why they're called beard oils.
What do you call them?
Beard oils.
Just beard oils?
Well, I mean, you could call it nectar of the chin.
Ooh, nectar of the chin. I like that very much. So, what kind of, are there any variants in the oil, or is it just pure Host Eric beard oil?
You know, we do have a couple of, I guess you'd call them not flavors, but scents or whatever we like to add. Lavender, obviously, is always a favorite.
Yes.
A little soapy for my taste, but I understand people really like the way the lavender
it's a
smells
classic.
like shit. Also, rosemary and sandalwood is a big one for us.
Yes.
Sandalwood. Also, melon and kumquat. Surprisingly, that's one of our biggest sellers.
That is an unusual and unique scent to have in an oil.
We call it melon kumquat melange.
Ooh,
it's a melange.
That's so fancy.
It's French, yeah.
If it's from France, you know it's fancy.
You might say, Eric, why should I pay $30 for this little bottle of beard oil? I say, why should you pay anything for something less? Right? It's the best.
I mean,
it's the best there is.
It is.
Best beard oil there is. I make it out of vegetable oil and dreams.
Oh!
It's like what we should do is we should make beard oil. All it is just sunflower oil with marketing. Okay? Plus marketing.
And sunflower oil is not so bad for you, actually.
Or coconut oil plus marketing. We've heard of pancake makeup before.
Club sandwich makeup.
That routine sounds like club sandwich makeup. It's how you get your skin to look like regular skin.
Maybe I will start teaching tarot, Fayes. That's a good suggestion. It's something that I've been putting off.
Pankakji. I like pankakji makeup better for some work.
Ooh, pankakji.
Yeah, it's a new makeup style. That's a good idea. See, if basically this is your idea for new makeup style, just slop it on there. Just put shit tons of it on, right?
All of
but
it.
you don't talk about it like that. You got to market. You say this is Eastern pankake style.
Okay. Well, who here knows Jenna Marbles?
I know who she is.
You know, she got famous off of that video where she's like, "This is what girls really do to their faces."
I mean, I just know she's famous for doing YouTube comedy stuff, right?
So she started off by, she was like, "You think your girl is hot? Guess what? This is what happens, and this is how long it takes to look like this." So she's like, "I put on my foundation, I put on my eyelashes," and she's talking funny while she's doing it, and she's like, "See boys, see this look? Don't." She's like, "It took an hour or something to get it done." That's how she got famous. For it was labeled something like what girls really look like.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a nap earlier. That was nice. I was quite tired, and it took me a long time to wake up from my nap. I was still falling asleep until we basically until we left for our appointment.
Oh, I felt bad. I hope I don't bother you too much.
You don't bother me at all.
Okay. Because I don't like I'm the same way in the morning. I'm kind of like.
Well, in this case, my dad basically got me up to go get El Pollo Loco. He walked in the room. And made enough noises. He walked in, and I was like, "Oh, good, you're up." And Russell, here, I want to look at this coupon. I'm like, "What?" My dad's girlfriend is like 15 years younger than ENFJ. He's ENTP. ENFJ ENTP is potentially a good relationship, but I think it's one of those where there's some disconnect between the two, but it's fine if they both understand the nature of the thing. It's like ENTPs don't think they need ENFJ's advice. We probably would benefit from it a lot, but we don't think we need it. And we think that whatever the ENFJ's understanding is and their advice on something, that our understanding and our approach is more nuanced. And theirs is just sort of blunt force FE. But it's not true. It's just, that's how we perceive each other because of the stack relations. I don't think ENFJ is a naturally sustaining long-term relationship, but I think it's an easy that it probably won't self-destruct very quickly. So in other words, it's a good chance both parties will roll along perfectly fine with this sort of not a lot of surface connection and not a lot of deep connection.
But that could be good for learning, you know? It's nice to have someone support, I think, in certain dealings. It's interesting. I've never had a relationship with an INTP. The closest would probably be my brother-in-law, and he definitely benefited from me being in the family relations for sure.
Regarding INFJ and INTJ, I don't think that kind of relationship is good for any romantic relationship. I think it's potentially a good friendship because you share the dominant function and you've got both halves of the corresponding tool. But that's, in my opinion, in a romantic relationship, you've got a recipe for disaster. Because the bottom line is tool polar. It's like ENFP, ENTP, we're going to battle on our tools. INTJ, INFJ, they're going to battle on their tools.
Yeah. When it comes to like jobs and work, an INTJ will never understand like why an INFJ will maybe like not fit certain roles or something.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about FE tool. FE tool always thinks that FE tool is about respecting that people are doing the thing they're doing the way they're doing it because that's how they want to do it.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't fundamentally FE tool doesn't think well, but I have to check to see if how they're doing it makes any sense. FE tool says I don't have to think about that at all. They're going to check to see if what they're doing is making any sense. Yeah. That's not my job. They can take care of that. Yeah. Same thing with FI and me, right? It's not my job to worry about your feelings. That's your job. It's my job to worry about your feelings about me, not your feelings unrelated to me.
That's gotta be. Yeah.
I've never dated an ENFP. No, I have dated an INFP though, and it is like it's like throwing a cactus into a tropical rainforest. I just did not belong there. Okay, that's too much water for my kind of plant. And my roots were rotting. My spines were getting all wilty. I wasn't blooming. I was mostly just like, I need to go back to the desert now, please.
Oh, he is cactus, and he really does have cactus soft skin.
It's like if you are a cactus in the desert and you go to the desert plant travel agency building and you explore with your travel agent options for your summer vacation as a cactus, it looks really appealing. Oh my God. You know, around here in the desert as a cactus, I can barely drink any water. I'm like always a little bit thirsty. I want to go to that place there. Look how much water there is there. It's going to be great. It's going to be an amazing vacation. You drink all the water I want. And they get there and realize, oh my God, there's way too much water. Nobody can drink that much water. Now I'm just going to drown. much better to be a little thirsty than to drowned.
Yeah.
Tool polar is a bad relationship recipe. That is guaranteed to fight because the way that you address things that are challenges conflicts with each other. What was wrong with the INFP chick? It was too much emotion. It was like she expected our interactions to be like feeling things.
Like in space.
You know, the FI user, this is how an INFP chick talks to you in ways that convey information.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how to do it. I don't even know how to look like it. Give the FI look. And then what happens is the ENP, you're interacting with somebody like, oh, I'm going to go talk to this person. And then you start talking to her and she goes into. and then like, all of a sudden I'm like,
oh my God.
Why are you looking at me like that? It really is.
You know how I knew that Jeffrey, Eric's debate kid was an ENTP is because he reminded me of a robot.
He totally doesn't know what he wants at all, the kid. We want to throw Jeffrey for a loop. Ask him about his feelings. Obviously, if you have a position on something, then you've articulated that position, and Jeffrey, that's not your emotions at all you're talking about there.
How many Rudes are in the Rude clan, Isaiah? You've got a lot of siblings, it seems.
There are too many Rudes in the porch, too many Rudes in the kitchen, too many Rudes in the backyard. All these Rudes be bitchin'. You have three siblings. Wow.
3, and you're the 4th?
Are your parents still together? Are they a Rude? Oh, he's not really a Rude.
One half brother.
My older brother's an ESFP.
So he's not
He snorts too much meth.
I understand.
I know. Well, you know what you need to do, Angantir? You need to introduce him to a little something called a glass pipe. It's going to really protect his nasal membranes. Fuck your dad, huh? Have you scolded him a lot? Is he like all hangdog about it? This is so coffee, huh? This weed is super coffee.
That was good banger. If I got a bell ringer out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I pack them properly, it's fine. I tore up my lungs by smoking this weed as though it were regular weed.
It's not though.
Oh, you ever really died?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that too. Is he the one who was doing the meth? Have you talked to him about it? What does he think about it? Does he have a narrative of sort of processing that information? I'm gonna go in and grab the chicken in a second. I just remember to take it.
I'm like not even hungry.
Well, it's because my dad wants me to do something with it. It's not
okay. Yeah.
Not even to eat it so that I don't get can you put the chicken away?
Who's the INFJ? Your dad? Oh yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
I'm sure he is. Is he the ENTP? How old was he when that happened? He was probably young. Oh, your dad's the INFJ. Like, how young were you when they split?
That is a good question. Sorry, he would feel ashamed. That is something that would absolutely make a INFJ feel ashamed. You were 7. I'm so sorry. remember stuff like that happening in my household when I was around your age, at that age, 6, 7. Like something happened. It didn't really damage you. That's good. I mean, I would lie if I said it didn't damage me. Like, I kind of was like, well, if like, I kind of like was like, this seems like it happens. Yeah, I cut it all off. I fucked it up yesterday, and I went to the barber today, where Eric goes to get his hair done, and she gave me a pixie, and I'm really happy with it. That's nice that both parents were very loving and good to you. That means, you know, my parents were loving to us too. My mom was the disciplinary during the week, and my dad was the one who like took us out and did fun stuff over the weekend. Oh, see. Eric is teaching me how to speak with a more Mexican accent. He does it better than me.
Oh, see. Is propensity to cheat genetic? I don't think so. Jim and I made. Did you already answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. It didn't damage you really. You were 7.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I don't think propensity to cheat is genetic. I think it has a lot more to do with how you grow up understanding what looks like a proper relationship. My daughter's an ESTP, but she's got the same basic attitude towards relationships as I do, as far as I can tell. She's a little bit, I mean, first of all, she can't seem to not get into relationships, you know.
Delilah?
Yeah, so it's like with Danny, she was determined this time to stay single and date a bit. But she just didn't end up doing it. All it meant was that she made Danny wait a long time before formally agreeing that they were together as a couple. But it's she's just like me. She's not interested in playing the field.
Yeah, no, she's not at all. She's very relationship-y. And she actually, when guys hit on her, she would be like, no, I have a boyfriend. He's right here. Like point to Danny.
Rachel's the eldest, Faye.
I am the eldest. I always said, do the things that I don't do.
Hair was slowly growing shorter and shorter, and finally we got there.
Yep. Well, I have never actually had a pixie before. I've had my head short, but never this short before.
Danny's type is ISFJ. Pretty definitive, I'd say. He's a pretty textbook ISFJ.
Who?
Danny.
Oh, yeah. He only speaks when spoken to.
He's very quiet. It shows you that but a lot of the dynamics of a couple can be determined by who's the extrovert. Because it seems like Delilah and Danny are are defined in their relationship by her being super extroverted and him being super introverted.
Yeah.
More than gender roles or anything like that. It's about extrovert introvert roles, Yeah,
he takes a back seat to her, but they're always sitting together. She likes to touch him on the hand every once in a while, and they'll talk. But it's the Delilah show usually.
Danny's Danny's a sensible one, so to speak. He's not exactly sensitive, but he's one who's like, hey, I got class tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm just a little bit tired.
Yeah, I work tomorrow. Yeah. Having Delilah as my dual is actually really fun because I don't know any ESTP females. And so it's a delight being around her, really. We have a lot of things in common, like makeup
and stuff.
Well, what do you think about Lamar's question? Is Delilah the dominant one in a relationship? I wouldn't quite say that. She's not. They don't have like neither of them acts like the boss at all.
It's very respectful, I would say.
Yeah, she's not dominant. It's just she's extroverted.
Yeah.
And so the extrovert tends to take the lead in things because well, we're action types, you know. We have something we want to do, and we're gonna be taking action as the default thing, unless somebody else goes, "Hey, hold on, stop! I want to lead the action now." And then you go, "Okay, fine." But it's like the timing of it, the amount of time that, like, if Rachel is silent for X amount of time, then I'll take my move next. You know, I'm always ready to take my turn. So if she runs out of stuff to say, or even if she's not running out of stuff to say, sometimes I'm still talking, but if she does, I'm automatically filling it. And it's comfortable and easy. Delilah and Danny are kind of the same way. Delilah likes to talk. I mean,
you take a backseat to him.
When Delilah's around, it's the only context probably really where not nowadays more and more context than that. But when Delilah's around, I really don't want to be the extrovert. I appreciate and enjoy being able to defer the extroversion responsibilities to her.
Yeah, it's great. She has a lot of stories. She's 21, so she's very active. You know, she does a lot of stuff, and she's going to school, and she has Danny. It's fun to hear her stories. You know. And she's roller skating now, so that's a really fun thing.
If you're ISFJ and your boyfriend is INTP, then yeah, you'd be probably perceived and probably are the more extroverted one, because FE is a more extroverted function than NE. NE works just as it's like. Wait, maybe that's what it is. So I've been trying to figure out the exact mechanics of fields and function kinds for quite some time now. So like extroverted intuition works on the extroverted metaphysical field and the introverted metaphysical field. Same with introverted intuition. But TE, it works on both the external metaphysical and external physical fields. It's an actually external function. Extroverted feeling works on both the external fields. Whereas extroverted sensing works on, I'd say, the internal physical and external physical fields. So it's like, and then same with introverted sensing. It's like the S's work on the two physical fields. The N's work on the two metaphysical fields. The T's, the interface functions, TE and FE, work on the two external fields. And the deliberation functions, TI and FI, work on the two introverted fields. I think that's it. I think that explains it maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting thing to have just sort of stumbled on there.
I'd love to hear more about it.
I think it through the rest of the way. But I think I may be onto it there. I think that's it. It's just that simple. It's like each of the functions operates natively in two different fields. Because obviously, expert intuition, I don't have to be speaking out loud. I can do it in my head too. So it's in the metaphysical internal and metaphysical external. Native to external because it's extroverted one. Yep. NI, same thing. Works on external and internal. She's using her NI on the external metaphysical field all the time to make collapse things there, right? And of course, but it's native to the internal field. So we're both native to the same two fields. It's just she's most native to the internal half of that metaphysical. I'm most native to the external half of that metaphysical. But we're both native to both, which would explain a lot of things. Which would also explain why ISFJ and ENTP is not as natively compatible a relationship as INFJ and ENTP. Because ISFJs, you're talking about SI, they're fundamentally all about SI and SE, the two physical fields. Because that's basically your 1-5 is your most absolute values. 3 is like your more childish absolute value. 5 is like your more realized adult absolute value. So why are ESTPs and ISFJs getting along better than the ISFJs and ENTPs? Because it's the field compatibility. We're both MM. We're 2 M's, you know. We like both metaphysical fields. But for ISFJ and ESTP, they both like both physical fields. So by this model, though, let's look at INTP and ESFJ. Well, INTP TI is internal metaphysical, and by my understanding of this, then as well, it would be, I'm not sure. Now it would be internal. I'm not sure. That's where it starts to break down with TI and FI there. I'm not sure to think about it.
Well,
anyway, this is why I constantly.
That would make sense, though. Why it would break down at those two.
But see, this is what happens whenever I try to figure out the field directionality mechanics of the functions, because I actually think that there was a time when I was positing this through, trying to imagine it in terms of, for each of these functions, one field is going to be more or less blind. So for extroverted intuition, it's never going to be consciously attending to the external physical field. And in fact, when it is, it's going to try to shift that onto the external metaphysical field, as per when the guy came to slap me and I tried to shift it onto the external metaphysical field, right? So SE would be basically my you might call it my blind field is external metaphysical field. It's not really a blind field, but you might call it that, because my dominant function doesn't ever want to stay there. It always wants to leave that field. And in the same regard, then NI, you'd say the field that it wants to avoid is SI. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry, internal physical, the internal physical field, because it's native to internal metaphysical, external metaphysical, and it can be, it's compatible with external physical. That's when you have physical timing things, like if there's a circle that's going like this and it's moving, you're trying to throw the ball so it catches it at the right spot, then that's NI too. So in that case, basically that's why NI and SE are on the same axis and NE and SI are on the same axis, because SE needs NI to be subsumed by it when SE is doing its most native kind of dynamic action in physical space. Then NI is subsumed to it and telling you about timing. For extroverted intuition, when extroverted intuition is doing its most foremost action, it's not able to pull in information from outside. So when I'm ideating a whole bunch, my default is to go to my SI to pull up random shit to throw into my story or something. So I'm going to make up a story about a meow, meow, meow. I'm operating on the external metaphysical field. I can look around a little bit and say, oh, and there was a microphone there or something like that. But I'm much more likely, in other words, it's an entirely self-sustaining system, as long as I'm in full blast NE mode, external metaphysical, internal metaphysical, and then I'm drawing the objects that I'm putting out from the internal physical. I told Eric to find an INFJ. That's why I did it. Okay, Angantyr. I was madly in love with this other woman who's an ESFP. I said, no, Angantyr said INFJ. Sorry, lady, get out of here. I'm going to listen to Angantyr. Are you guys sneezing? Are Lawnmower and Jim and I having a sneezing party?
Yeah.
God bless you too.
God bless America.
Hey, Lawnmower Jim and I, you know it's only okay to say bless you when somebody sneezes. Otherwise, you're perceived as a religious kook.
May God bless you and everyone. I did sneeze twice.
It's like one word that I every once in a while still use every once in a while, but I wish I could remember the first day or occasion when I used the word, because it would definitely represent a shockingly unpredictable development in my life. The first day that I used the word blessed, I feel blessed. I mean, if you would ask me 10 years ago, will you ever use that expression? Say, if I do, please shoot me in the face.
When did you use it?
I mean, I use it. I still use it occasionally. It happened after I quit drinking, after started this phase of my life with the YouTube channel and stuff, because that's when I started incorporating more magical thinking and incorporating faith-based stuff. So
nice.
I still have this natural queasiness about the dorkiness of religious language. Like
that is a very good thing to note there.
Like
it is dorky.
If somebody says to me, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" "Oh, well, me and a few of our friends were going to fellowship." I would be like, "Okay, have fun with that."
No, thank you.
We're going to worship and fellowship and sing praise. I don't like those kind of terms. They make me feel like cringy.
They put a book in your hand, and then you have to pay for the book, but in donation.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like anything from the fridge?
No, thank you.
Okay.
So the thing is, I do feel blessed, and I've become increasingly secure, I guess, across the board, such that okay, let's talk about something slightly unrelated, which is, say you're a young man in your late teens, 20s, as I was at some point years ago. I carried into that period of my life a lot of insecurities, and I was protective, therefore I was cautious. You might say I was trying to be more like an INFJ a lot, and kind of beating myself up for not being enough like an INFJ. So, and during those time periods when I really was trying hard, because I see prior to quitting drinking as sort of the will to power phase of life, and after quitting drinking as the will to being phase of life.
I went to AA too, actually, because part of the time that I was in a program, I was looking for like-minded people, and sometimes it was really good. I'd say most every time I spoke, because some of the stories were like just way too real. Like alcohol, like I was so socially like an alcoholic, like I really did abuse it. Like I would talk about, it was kind of glorified in my family. Not really like my mom and my dad, but like in the McCurkin side, my mom's side of the family, is kind of glorified if you come hungover from like something.
Oh, I'm so hungover.
Yeah. Especially if it was like Thanksgiving Eve the night before. So I drank a lot. I have a DWI. I pulled myself over. No one. It was the most dorky pullover in history, but it probably saved my life and someone else's. And I can remember like the last really bad hangover I ever had, and it felt like death. Oh my God. It was just like
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing about alcohol is it's a drug that's it really has you have to pay a big price for it. It's like you cannot get drunk without feeling very crappy the next day. Usually, occasionally you might get away with it, but when you drink every day a lot, like I did towards the end, then basically the last couple of years of my life, every morning was waking up and dry heaving in the shower and shaming myself in my morning self-shaming that I'd go in the bathroom and tell myself what a worthless piece of shit I was, and then say had this sort of vague notion that I don't even want to drink at all today. I'm so hungover, and then by 4 p.m. or something, it's like I just feel a little shitty. You know what'll make me feel better? Alcohol. It's a vicious cycle.
Yes, it's what you tell yourself. Exactly. It's true. So I found an AA that it was nice because I found like-minded people, but I had one foot in, one foot out, I would say, because
it wasn't entirely voluntary.
Exactly. And like
sobriety can't be instrumental of something else.
Yeah.
It's got to be an absolute value, and you can't lie to yourself. Sometimes and they were asking you to lie to yourself.
Yeah, and they were asking.
You are not an alcoholic, no matter how much you've abused it in the past. You are obviously not an alcoholic.
I definitely abused it, but I'm not an alcoholic. I can't. This is great to me. If I like to have a drink once in a while with Eric's dad, because it's nothing. But I'm not a big drinker. I've never been a big drinker socially. But I did meet like-minded people in AA, but I did have one foot in, one foot out because like Eric said, it was put upon me. So I was like, but
it was never going to be a spiritual pivot point for you because that just wasn't your path. People were trying to force that path on you.
Yeah.
But it wasn't meant to be your path.
No, and it was just the whole no dating for a year.
Oh yes.
Those things.
I mean, I never paid any attention to this.
No, and I didn't either. So it was really, and you have the host or whatever, or your sponsor. I never did that.
Yes, Tiny Silver Hammers. I would definitely spend. I had a lot of energy directed actually towards avoiding thinking about that. Avoiding. The thought would come in my head. It was awful.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, I went there because I wanted specifically at that point to do what Alcoholics Anonymous is there to do, which is I needed to be able to say, Eric, it's time for you to be humble and trust in following somebody else's instructions. Of course, the thing is, it's like the reason why AA works is not because the instructions are good. It's because it asks you to set aside what you think and feel and your own deciding of things and defer your agency to somebody else or some other system. So that it's basically saying, well, maybe I can't. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm not the smartest person.
What's it smell?
I don't know. It's not anything.
There's a whiff of like something. Maybe it's smoke.
I don't know. The thing is, that was for me the crux of all AA can be summed up in the first couple of steps, basically, that I have to decide that what the narrative here is. Mm-hmm. And the narrative here is not going to validate on TI grounds. So it is not the case that it's not possible for me to drink alcohol without going crazy on it. That's not the case. That's what AA says, but that's not the case. The reason it's not the case is because if I claim that, then I'm claiming my lack of discipline is an implicit quality rather than a choice. So I won't allow myself that. What I will allow myself instead is the following. Well, it's not like it's not like I'm unable to be a normal drinker. Rather, it's that I don't have any self-discipline about it. I'm just weak and not. I don't have any. I can't trust myself in that area, and so as a consequence, it's not like the arguments I might make. But Eric, that doesn't make any sense. It's not a disease. That's ridiculous. Well, I make all these TI arguments, right? Like, how am I supposed to believe this statement? I came to see that I was powerless over alcohol when it's patently false. Obviously, I'm not powerless over alcohol. Yeah. You know, how can I be powerless over an object?
I thought that too.
It's ridiculous. So what happened was I developed a proper meta frame, which was this. Well, of course it's ridiculous, Eric. If it made sense, you wouldn't be submitting. And that's what you need to do. You need to be in the position of the learner rather than the teacher.
Yeah.
Of the system worker rather than the system evaluator.
Yeah.
And that's a hat you're not yet accustomed to wearing, but it's the only way it's going to work in this instance, because obviously maybe it won't work, but at least it had a chance of working. You have so much faith in your own words and thoughts and narratives, but those haven't worked at all. And you've been doing this for years. What you're doing here, the behavior, is not sustainable. It doesn't make you happy. It's a form of insanity. Why do you keep doing this? And at that point, when I went into AA, I was broken too. It was just like my spirit was broken. I had embarrassed myself at a Christmas Eve thing. My family went off to go spend time with the other family members, and so that it wouldn't have to be around me on Christmas Day. So I went to a Mexican restaurant and had margaritas on Christmas Day, and that was the last alcohol I ever drank.
Wow.
I went to AA the next day, and it was. I mean, for the first time, I'd gone to AA before that plenty of times, but it was the first time that I went in and said, I didn't go in as a perspective. Like, if let's say I was going to go apply to a university, I'd go there, I'd look at it, and I'd be evaluating it for, this is the right choice for me. Can I do better than this? Maybe this isn't the best way to teach this information. I bet I can think of a better way to teach this information than the university's doing it. This is not one of those things. This is one of those things where you go into AA so that you are, not because you are there to evaluate AA, judge AA, or decide how it can be better or how it's wrong, but rather because you're a worthless drunk. So you've lost any claim to your own judgment and discretion now. So just go fuck yourself, Eric, and go to AA meetings and do what they say. And once I did that for a while, it was extremely liberating. It was like, you don't always have to trust your own judgment. It's
true.
Everybody around here hears me talk about how, like, well, I'm right about everything, or I have the right position on all the policy prescriptions and blah, 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 blah. That, and it's true. And it creates a situation where it creates a situation where it's like so ontologically confusing that to be a drunk to understand why all of AA's arguments are wrong and to keep proving them right again and again anyway.
I know.
It's like, but I'm right. How can this be?
Yeah. I know. I found, so the first thing is that like it was put upon me. Second was, it was a big dating field. Like people there sometimes weren't serious at all, and they were just looking for the next fix, which would be to have sex with someone else. So that really like turned me off when I was like, ugh, like that just does it just wasn't for me.
So, I mean, the thing is,
Mortgage.
The key for me in quitting drinking and having AA work was to decide that that's what my purpose was, which was like, to the extent that AA is telling me stuff that's not making any sense, I'm going to make it work. I got to figure out the frame to make it work rather than negate it. So what I ended up doing is basically creating in my own head a bunch of TI walls around any of the arguments I might use to start drinking again. Plus, I created a new meta frame to incorporate magical thinking in a way that would be where it would be safely isolated. And so you don't want your magical thinking connected directly to the internet any more than you want your missile silo computers connected directly to the internet. Because somebody's going to hack in, right? So you need to have it contained. Well, I have it contained in two specific ways that are critically important. One, I successfully came up with the argument, and this was a lifesaver, that religious beliefs are best understood as faith-based behaviors rather than as affirmations. Mm-hmm. So once I no longer have to defend a position statement, if it meets certain criteria, and can justify not having to defend it because it's been contained properly, then I can safely use magical thinking. It's not something I really tried to figure out how to do prior to that because I wasn't on the same team as AA. I wasn't trying to be on the same team. I was trying to be on the opposite team.
So funny. But you have such a great story. I mean, like, I really applaud you for being so honest and open about it. I mean,
thanks, darling.
Yeah. Very, very brave.
So anyway, well, I mean, the thing is, it's a reminder also that I need to maintain a withholding of judgment on some level about all arguments and positions, because there would have been a day prior to me quitting drinking when I said it's not possible to both sustain your logical framework and incorporate magical thinking. Magical thinking is evil and stuff like that, you know. So I would have used to have said prior to,
so interesting.
Yeah, it would be, you know, prior to my life change there. But now I typically reserve for FI. So I say, you know, like basically, you FI people need to stop using your FI when thinking about public policy. Well, that would be, I would have had magical thinking in that slot where FI is back in the day, where I always thought I wanted to have a bumper sticker that said, belief is the devil's favorite tool.
It's funny.
But so, yeah, it was such a TI view. And the thing is, I managed to get through the AA thing and emerge on the other side with still such a TI view, but it proves that when I'm trying to say sometimes, that I sometimes do, look, I know all the arguments on this, and this is the end of the argument chain. It's not necessarily even then, because I can always, if you frame up big enough, you can typically find something else. And that's what happened with the magical thinking thing. It's still the case that I was right prior about it if I evaluated it within my frame prior, but it's not the case that my prior frame subsumes my current one. So I'm right now and was wrong then. I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with Heinlein there. It's absolutely false. It is not true that one man's magic is another man's engineering. Magic definitionally is that which you cannot parse. Engineering is always parsable. That's the difference between magic and engineering. To say that magic is just another man's engineering is to say there is no magic.
How could that be? You were in New York City in 1984 April.
I thought it would be a good bumper sticker. I like to come up with little like t-shirt sayings and stuff.
Even though I have to.
I used to have a bumper sticker on my station wagon when I was in college that said "Nuka Gay Whale for Jesus."
That's great. Where'd you get that from?
It's weird. I don't know where I got it. I think I saw it like at a farmer's market or something. But I don't remember ever really seeing a single other person have it either.
Yeah,
so it's cool because
it is really cool.
And I remember one time I was in a supermarket in Santa Cruz, and some lady came in and was like, why do you hate Christ? I was just like, what are you talking about? I had no idea what you're talking about because you're not normally you go into a supermarket, you're not thinking about your bumper sticker on your car. Right, you're forgetting that you have that bumper sticker on your car. Like when I used to have a shirt that said "My name is Eric" on it, people come up to me and say Eric. I'd be like, "How the fuck do you know what my name is?" Oh, that's over this shirt. That's
funny. Right. Oh my gosh. ENTP. There's a boo functioning in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you are the naked baby on a horse in the sun car, stumbling around through life with your horse.
Well, let's talk about Shy T. Shy T might also be a baby on a horse. And Shy T has a question. How do you think an INFJ can contain their magical thinking? Rachel, how do you keep your magical thinking from going overboard?
Well, I've
limited her to one cauldron.
Can actually tell you that it's taken some time. I was introduced to magical thinking. I've done it my whole life without knowing. Because I always put positive vibes out for myself and for others. So magical things would happen to me, but because I was living a good life. And then I was introduced to magical thinking in 2015. Started reading The Secret. I started to do meditations with affirmations, and I feng shuied my room. I was, owner of my universe. Like, I did manifest things, but it did go overboard. And when it goes overboard, it gets really scary. That's like my mania.
Interestingly, I was having a conversation in my head last night in the garage when I was getting from the fridge. I just remembered it right now, but I was thinking about what's the sort of metaphysical nutshell of the following moral issue, so to speak, which is, how do I feel about, I was considering the possibility of praying a request that more magical momentum be injected into my life. So in other words, like, I feel at the moment as though there's a building of potential energy that's looking for a channel to go through.
Yeah.
A vector or something.
That's what I do.
And I really feel like I guess impatient, waiting for the storm to break, kind of thing.
Gosh. But they seem to go through it, though. They seem to go through it.
So the question is, well, is it legitimate to request from God an infusion of more magic into one's life. I don't normally make requests. I normally express gratitude and ask for forgiveness. I guess that's a request. But when I pray, those are the two things I do almost exclusively. But I didn't end up praying for that. But because it's the sort of thing that if it hadn't come up right now, I would probably revisit this issue in my head for weeks occasionally until it ever came out of my mouth, which is something that a lot of people don't misunderstand. I have this way of displaying as though everything's on the fly, but without really trying to intentionally, it is the case. I've noticed that I don't talk about something at all until I've thought about it quite a bit, usually, if it's a new idea or something. Like I would not have mentioned this so quick if it hadn't been so consistent with the topic here.
I mean, I think it's important because, like, I got to a point where I was like, fuck this magical thinking stuff. Like, because it got to a point where I was listening to a lot of like spiritual gurus. And I'm not saying that they don't have points that they make that aren't helpful, because some of that stuff really did help, especially when I wasn't living a life that I wanted to live. Like, it was nice to have like fresh perspectives from YouTubers. But then I was like you can't, some things like are out of your control, like, and that's where I give it like that saying too, like, think about God, let God get some,
let God, let go, let God.
Yeah. Right. I can't even say let go.
So what this is here, this is a song called Listen to the Spiritual Guru. Take a short 3-minute intermission to listen to this song.
He is the
My lyrics are lyric and I'd like to be paid attention to carefully, but I can't control your mental processes, so why would I incur any of your blessings?
I don't know whether you like this, whether you think that it's totally shit, or whether you want to bury it in the ground. How many jumps would you jump? How many jumps would I duck? How many woodchucks would I fuck if I could fuck a woodchuck? Let's have lunch. Woodchucks are as woodchucks do. Woodchucking at you. If I hadn't had a woodchuck pet, I probably wouldn't care about woodchucks, I bet. How many jumps would you jump? How many jumps would I duck? How much bad luck to chuck? I could see a woodchuck over there. How many would I fuck if it were fair? Go ahead, study you the gurus, study you the wise men, and tell you what to do. I can study all the wise men, study all the gurus, study all the folks who spiritually guide you. Listen to him, or you could listen to me. It won't do any good again if you don't see that you're listening to spiritual gurus. How many woodchucks would I fuck? Back at the time when I woodchuck, I fuck a woodchuck. I like it too, but would I duck? Do you jump chumps if you're tough? How many? The thing is, what I hear and when I listen to stuff I produced a while back is it's just so sloppy. Like the timing of the vocals with the music is just very sloppy, and that's part of NI ignoring too. It's like being an NE Dom means like my intuition is hearing that as though it were. I go, okay, well, I get what this concept is. I get the song. This is a good song. It works. Except it's not executed properly, so it doesn't. But it took me so long to realize that my vocals are always out of time with the song. Now they're not anymore. I fixed that problem about, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. It's so hard. Music is so hard to make.
It is. It really is.
But this stuff that I'm making now is so much better than what I used to make. This is so much cleaner. This is a good track.
Nightfall. You ready? Adore. Get ready. I want to see you undress. I need to guess. Suspect this is the best ever we see. I think you guess. Suspect this is the best. You ready? Ready. Go. Ready. Sassy, sassy, sassy. Sassy.
I know, I love that. Oh, sorry, you're so funny.
So let's see here. Eric, have you seen the video, The Silent Gaze of Brocco? No, I have not. Is it a long video? I would point out that it's a little redundant because gazes are not noisy things.
Pee-pee just basically flew down those steps. What is this? Oh, wow.
Let me mute this for a second so I can watch The Silent Gaze of Brocco.
Sorry, my face.
That's an INFP who thinks being an INFP is a life philosophy, or an ISFP probably.
I thought it was ISFP too.
Yeah. That's not. Oh, that's not. What?
He's just happy he still has his hair. It's so fucking long. Like,
What do you get
is he thinking
when
of Jesus?
what do you get when you cross an ISFP with a motivational speaker? A silent gaze.
It's too true. silent gaze is the 9th cognitive function.
So, okay, let me get this straight, Brocco.
Brocco!
Your spiritual message to me is this.
I have to meet him.
Yeah.
That's my bucket list. I want to look into Brocco's eyes.
How do I spell that?
Brocco's Modern Life. I like that, Shy T.
I imagine Brocco walking into this situation, you know. It's like the police chief called him, Brocco, we need you down here. The building on fire, there's a baby trapped up on the top floor, right? What can we do, Brocco? And Brocco just, and the baby, thanks, Brocco. God, that guy's gaze is silent. I didn't hear a single thing. The whole time he was looking at that baby, I didn't hear a single thing.
No, I did. I heard the people singing his praises.
You heard a chorus of angels when Brocco looks at you. You call the consultant in here. Yeah, Brocco, what do you think about this? The lawyers are saying this is a possibility. What do you think about this? The lawyers are saying this is possibly a liability risk, but my reading of the contract is not. What do you think, Brocco? Finally, I understand. Thank you, Brocco. It's not always like you're totally healed instantly. It's a moment where you're opened up.
But see,
and you feel your moisture.
What I want to know is, like, where did he get all that jewelry back in the day? Like his rings. Did you see those rings on his fingers?
Hold on a second, though, Rachel. I'm intrigued by the rings too, but look at that sentence right there. He live streams his gazes.
Oh my gosh, we have to be a part of that sometime.
I mean, well, I have to. There's going to have to be a gazing live stream.
Yes, I have to be there.
Well, we can take turns gazing. We can have shifts.
Okay.
So it won't be too boring. Like, I'll sit here and gaze for 5 minutes. Then I'll pull some bowls. You sit here and gaze for 5 minutes. Let's see if we can gaze.
Oh my gosh, it's like art installation bullshit.
You know what? I have a better idea. The thing is, what you do is you take somebody else's successful idea, you tweak it a little bit, and you call it your own, and that's how you profit off it. So here, what we're gonna do, instead of a silent gaze, I'm gonna listen to you.
Wow. So I could talk and say anything, you're just gonna listen to me? I feel saved. Oh my God, my life is about to change.
You can see it in my ear, can't you? You can see the love in my ear.
Yeah, it's turning a shade of pink. That's how I know.
Brocco has a shady backstory. He was training with a spiritual mentor. They went to a beach, and only Brocco came back alive.
What
the ocean
oh my
reclaimed.
gosh.
No, listen. The ocean reclaimed him. Okay? But was he? So, in other words, Brocco, please just answer this question. So, was he dead when the ocean took him, or was he still alive? I'll tell you the answer in gaze form. Now you know.
What girl say to him?
Please gaze at me more. Okay. Look, when people talk about the 9th function, that's just a euphemism for your junk. Okay. My 9th function is a penis. Rachel's 9th function is a vagina. Yeah. So people are like, you should use your 9th function. That's a way of telling somebody surreptitiously that you want to sleep with them.
And then it is 10th butthole.
Yeah, 10th is anal. Yeah.
Yeah, we both don't know.
And the 11th function is autoerotic asphyxiation. David Carradine died of that. I've never tried it. Yeah. I don't understand. I don't believe it. I've heard it, but I don't believe it. All right, cool. So the thing is, they say that if you have a lack of oxygen, that it makes your orgasms more intense, or something like that. But
yeah, a lot of people die from it.
I don't believe that.
A lot of people die accidentally.
I mean, I don't think it's true though. Even
I don't think it's true either.
Because look, it's not like when sometimes we're having sex, and it's right at the edge. It's one of two things going to happen. either I'm going to get too winded and I have to stop, or I'm going to reach climax right before I get too winded. If it's too close to the edge, then it actually interferes with my orgasm's quality because I'm too winded to fully enjoy the orgasm.
Who wants that?
So I don't believe this idea that if you have a lack of oxygen, that it makes your orgasms better. That's what they say, but I don't think so.
I know. I think it kills people more than it does pleasure. I'm telling you, it's like.
Well, I mean, nobody's disputing that asphyxiation kills people.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely does.
It does. I agree with that. It does kill people.
Accident.
I'm just disagreeing with the part where it makes you orgasm.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I agree with you on that. We agree to agree.
Horse mumbler, we may very well take you up on that soonish. You know, Rachel and I.
Yeah, I would love to visit.
Rachel and I get a little restless. Just sticking around the house forever.
Yeah, I'm known to.
And the trip to you is so much easier than the trip up to Hambone. Not that it was a bad trip up to Hambone, it was just there was one day of driving when I said, okay, it was the second to last day of the trip. It was the day we drove. We ended up in the Gaia Hotel at the end of that day. By the end of that day of driving, I was like, all right, this is something I have to not do again. I have to make sure that in the future, when we plan these things, there's no 10 hours of driving day. I can't do that shit anymore.
It was a lot.
Yeah. It's fine. You can do it on the first day out, right? Like, okay, we're gonna make a big burst on this first day out, a lot of energy. After that, if you have any more long driving days, it just becomes painful. It's not fun.
So we said next time we would look at plane tickets.
Yeah, but Horse Mumbler is just in Arizona.
Yeah, so I would love to visit, and I would really like to see the miniature. Would you go back?
If it's open, it might be COVID closed.
Oh,
I don't know, but yeah, I would like to go back there. In fact, I've often thought I wish I had done a better job of taking still photos when I was there, because I really like the still photos I got from there, and I didn't feel like I took full advantage of the opportunity to get more still. Some of my I want to get pictures of as many of the figure and character looking things in isolation as I can, because I could make, in theory, a storyboard with those things. RVs are expensive. Yeah. Here's the deal. The thing to note is that part of the reason why we road tripped up to Hambone is that I thought, well, it'll be a little cheaper because we don't have to get plane tickets and we don't have to rent a car. And I'm very skittish about renting a car after the dollar rent-a-car experience, where the advertised price and the price they tried to charge me were vastly different. So it makes me a little
stinky.
Yeah. And they tell you, oh, it's $39 a day. You end up with like a $400 bill. It's like, what? I only had this for 2 days. Happened? What happened? How did this happen? I don't know what happened in Hawaii. They tried to. I won that, actually. I keep winning every appeal I ever make. They seem to win. I said no. I'm challenging that charge, and I won. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I never looked at I never look at the email I get back to tell me if I've won or not, though, because I'm too nervous to look at it because I might have lost. I don't want to find that out. But I concluded eventually, well, the money was put back in and they never took it out again, so I must have won.
Isn't he so sweet? Oh, my baby.
Yeah, here's the thing, Zaylin. If we were to travel, do regular sort of trips cross country kind of thing, we would want to get an RV. We've talked about it before. I would like to get something on this, not one of those big ass coaches. Those things are too big, but like maybe like a smallish Airstream, or one of the Airstreams you can pull behind your car. That would be cool.
I was thinking that too, actually. I saw someone driving with that when we were on our way back home from Hambone and Zandi. Yeah, I love traveling, so and we travel well together.
Yeah, we do travel really well together. In fact, I think that probably throughout our relationship, our most like peaceful, happy times have probably been traveling. Not that our non-traveling times haven't been peaceful and happy, but we haven't. You and I have yet to have a bad experience on a trip where we're like, on the different page.
Yeah.
And like you're mad 'cause I dragged you here, and I'm mad 'cause that doesn't happen. We're on the same page about how to travel.
We're sevens.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. Yay! I am not hungry at all right now.
I'm not especially hungry, but I feel like I should put some food in my body.
I'm definitely gonna eat that at some point, though. Hi, PNP. Oh, Katie Pageant winner. Hello.
He was here earlier today.
My pretty pageant winner. Oh, Katie, yes. You're the most spectacular wonder.
I think the psychology of a David White is pretty straightforward. It's like, I'm spent a lot of time in live streams historically, and then we go and visit him, and we hang out with him. And after we come back, I don't see him quite as much around for a while. Well, part of the reason for that, my thing in the psychology of it is, it's like
I'm drawing you. Yeah, it's you.
Like it's a high level of like pop in terms of your interaction with the community. It's an example of a possible interaction with TWFP community that can happen, but most interactions with TWFP community are less exciting than that, right? So it's kind of like you already ate the best parts of the cake, so you're gonna leave the rest of the cake for later because it seems boring now compared to the exciting part of the cake or something. That's my guess on the psychology of it. I respect craftsmen. Businesses are people that make very high quality goods. Like my Spyderco knife is a really great knife. I've had it now for a long time, and it's still not even remotely loose or wiggly at all.
I like that you have that. I'm surprised there's no heads.
I had another piece of chicken too. This is good chicken.
I've never had this kind of chicken in my portfolio. Wow. That's some good chicken.
Tell Rachel her haircut is cute.
Thank you. Thank you, David White. No, you're tripping. Thank you.
It's important to eat food because there are occasions when I'm feeling really like down. I don't enough to recognize that I'm feeling down. I'm like, wow, just really seems shitty right now. Almost always, I realize shortly thereafter, oh, you're fucking starving to death. If you don't eat food often enough, it will impact your mood negatively. And you'll think you won't link it to it though. Because when I think about emotions, if I'm feeling sad, well, that must mean that something sad has happened, right? No, I could be feeling sad because I'm hungry. Being hungry is not a reason to be sad. There's nothing sad about the fact that I haven't gotten around to going through a drive-thru yet. So there's no reason to feel sad. So it's not intuitively linked to the reason for the sadness. So that's why, I've had to learn from SI that even though it doesn't make any sense, in fact, the reason I'm feeling sad is because I'm hungry. I feel like I eat, I feel better.
I'm coming.
I'm sad when I'm done tapping your mom's ass. I'm just kidding, Gunner. I really didn't tap your mom's ass. I said, look, I'm sorry, Gunner's mom. I'm in a relationship. You're going to have to leave me alone.
Who's hitting on you?
I told Gunner, I said, I'm sad when I run out of snacks. So I told him, I'm sad when you're going to hit tapping your mom's ass.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Look, neither your mom nor your maybe father or me are sure who's the biological father, okay?
You are such a Gen Xer.
The perfect wooden waster is still not a thing of the past. What's the perfect wooden waster?
I don't know. How is it? What? It sounds like it is a thing of the past because I don't know what it is. What is it? You don't know what it is either?
No, I asked him. I don't know what it is. Here, trouble.
Oh, Double's out of there?
Yeah, I gave him a piece of chicken. Right at the bottom. Do people ever say, okay, I'll go watch it. Do people ever say, you can't tell shit from Shinola anymore? Or does nobody ever say that expression anymore? Why'd you take it away? Now I can't Google it.
Is he back? Oh, I'm sorry, kitty.
All right, I'm going to put this on mute briefly. Official gazing music. Brocco, official gazing music. So, if I really want to get the maximal impact of your gaze, Brocco, should I observe you gazing at me while listening to the official gazing music? Gaze time.
If he is an ISFP, his gazing will benefit me.
Okay, that's upcoming event.
Cool.
October 2020.
London.
But what could we do if we went to this? We could experience Brocco's gaze in 4 sessions at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 noon, and 1 p.m.
Wow. In October.
It's a lot of gazing.
That is a lot of gazing. Does he blank?
I imagine going to one of these conferences, walking in, bunch of dudes in short shorts and pink stoles, and I go, "Who the hell are you guys?" We're Brocco's Gaze. Oh, did I go to one of those? I got the wrong conference.
Oh no!
I wanted his AZE.
Oh.
What is this gazing thing? Okay, I'm gonna mute this for a second. I gotta watch this America.
Yeah. Where are you going, Trouble?
The crazy thing about that this whole idea of his is, first of all, it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, it's he's a comic genius. He got people paying him to look at them. What's your job, Bronco? I look at people. I look at a lot of people every day. Why aren't I getting paid for that? Well, you don't have the gaze of miracles. That's why. You would not believe all the things that the gaze of miracles can do. There was a boy, he was having regular PTSD events, and then he was subjected to the gaze of miracles. And from that day forward, he never had a single other PTSD event.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does this have any of your Scrooge on it?
Yeah.
Aww.
It says I wrote one out in the thing the other night.
The other day?
Yeah, I don't think it was last night. I think it was the night before.
Oh, because Kiki had it outside with her.
Oh, she took it out there to sit on it?
Yeah.
The cat likes my jizz rag. There are very few jizz rags around here. Rachel has many times picked up something and said, did you shoot cum into this? And it's always like, I've been blowing my nose into the paper towels. This is the first time that she's actually, you're actually right. Yeah, actually, this time, yes, that does have dried semen in it. Because normally, obviously, I prefer to ejaculate. With
me.
Yeah, in with actual sexual intercourse rather than imitation sexual intercourse. It's simply going number 3, as I would call it. But the thing is, sometimes it might be in the middle of the night. I'm new on a bottle of speed or something, and so I'm starting to feel like a lot of like the wacky weirdness, and so everybody just rub one out and get that out of my attention because I'm busy working on something. I don't want to deal with that. So
that's fine.
So I did, and
thank you for being honest.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to deny the truth. Oh, Eric.
Kitty Wonderpants. Can I close the door for Kitty Wonderpants because she's not happy?
Yeah, close the way.
She gave the evil eye to Trouble out there because she saw that she definitely wants that chicken. Do you give her chicken?
Who, Pee-Pee?
Yeah.
She doesn't like it.
Oh, that's good.
I've tried giving her meat and chicken plenty of times before, and she'll maybe eat one teeny piece of chicken sometimes, but usually she just won't really eat it.
She gave Trouble the eye.
I wonder if Trouble's eating the chicken.
He is. He's eating it right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then he went and hid in the bushes, and I'm like, stop playing.
What is that white stain on my pants? This is probably paint. Yeah, it's paint. What is paint? I painted in these pants. I did a lot of painting when I was on Laverne. It's like, the more I think about Laverne, the more I realize, boy, she did sure think I was her living handyman, didn't she? I was always getting scolded for playing with my projects, but also getting scolded for not playing with her projects as she wanted me to. So
I know.
It's like, okay, I'm getting yelled at now for working on this song because I should be helping you with your project. You will note, Kimberly, that I don't ever ask you to help me with my projects.
Right?
I don't make paintings, Connor, but I know somebody who does. His name is Raul Diego, and he's, I'd say, the Western Hemisphere's greatest artist, maybe the world's.
Is he? I forget. He's an intuitive, right?
Yeah, he's an intuitive genius.
Oh, an intuitive genius.
Mm-hmm. Now the thing is, I'm not sure what kind of intuitive he is. As far as I've never tested the guy, but he talks about being an intuitive a lot. What I've learned in MBTI and cardinal functions and stuff is that actually generally correlates with being a sensor.
That what?
that correlates mostly with being a sensor. But a genius is a Spanish genius.
Yeah, but it's so great that he thinks that he's an intuitive, but he's so obviously.
Well, I mean, I don't know what he is, but all I know is that he hates sensors.
Yeah, I thought he hates sensors.
He hates sensors. Can't stand them. He blames sensors for his lack of selling paintings in major galleries.
So gorgeous. That's like chicken.
Hola, bienvenidos. Me llamo, my name is Raul Diego. Welcome. Painting with Ideas. YouTube's only painting show exclusively for intuitives like me. Welcome. If it's your first time, you've probably not experienced a Raul Diego presentation of genius. That's why I like. Everything is waves. What you say about NI being irreducible makes sense. My ENTJ brother does this a lot. For example, he'll mention my energy and then I'll ask him my body language. He's also a fan of everything is waves. So the thing about that is, of course, when an ENTJ or an ENFJ is doing that, they're basically saying to you, look, just understand it by NI. Then you'll see that I'm right. Okay, I get that there's a certain you're gesturing a certain holistic identity thing there that does have some sort of holistic quality, but the problem is you're trying to communicate to me something, and if you're insisting that the only way you're going to communicate to me is for me to stop insisting that you communicate in ways that are comprehensible to me, then it's not going to work. But, it's like ENTJs don't have any time for me anyway. ENTJs will periodically hire me to type them, and then I'll never see them again because they've solved their typing issue. They were looking to figure out what the type was. They have a definitive. They got me to type them. Now they have their answer, and they move on to other things. They don't just hang around and socialize like we do. ENFJs, they socialize more, and Zandy is around here fairly often.
Yes.
And they're a lot less likely to use NI in ways that are incompatible with the other person's approach because they're so FE aware. Because you said so. Now, because I said so is a fine enough explanation, but I want to know what you're explaining when you say because I said so.
What happened, BP?
Are you explaining why you are the source of the words being quoted? Because I said so. That's why they quote them as deriving from me. Because I said so. If you put the accent someplace else. Look, Bubble Puppy, everything is waves, all right? When I tell you your energy's off, just trust me. You got dirty waves. Your waves are covered with flotsam and jetsam. Get that gross foam with kelp in it. I'm here to help you clean it up. No, don't think any further. It's not just a metaphor. It's all the truth combined. And blah! There, now do you see? No, you're just being more intense about the same lack of explanation.
I'm going to turn on the air.
Sure. You turn on that air. You turn it on hard.
Thanks, bye.
Mm-hmm. So, one nice thing is I want to have more of the kind of, I would like for it to possibly, for me to do maybe even a slightly better job than I did last night. Although I didn't do bad last night of not getting provoked emotionally at all. But I really appreciated the fact that somebody came in to be the foil on Black Lives Matter. That the way that these certain narratives are being just sort of forced down people's throats as implied truths, like, well, let's all operate as though there was no doubt about this thing, why broad consensus about this thing, and then behave accordingly. Bullshit for me, that's not gonna happen for me. But I need people who are willing and able to, or just willing actually, to voice their stupidity so that I can explain to them why it's wrong. And that's why I appreciate that guy, Mike Jones, I think his name was, came in yesterday and the day before, even though he made me mad in the moment. I appreciate him coming in here and voicing those horrible perspectives so that I can trash them. That's the work that needs to be done in the world so that we can fix the narrative landscape. Is people with wrong narratives need to get beaten up metaphorically with the right narratives. The only way to solve the world's problems is to hurt wrong people's feelings for being wrong. A global plan of hurt feelings. That's my political platform. The International Butt Hurt Task Force, we'll call it. It's the IBTF.
Phoebe's a little bit butthurt right now.
Is she?
Yeah. We fed trouble.
I think she's decided to forget about that and just let you enjoy the love.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Mommy loves Pee-Wee. And so does Daddy.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Just because we give him does not mean we do not love our PNT. We love Pee-Wee.
Your mother speaks truth, BB.
Mm-hmm. Mommy and Daddy love you. Yes, Capillo.
Where's that bag of pens? Oh, here it is. No, wait, that's not it.
Up there's one. The other bag, I don't know where else.
Oh, this is a different bag of pens.
Yeah,
This is a better bag of pens.
yeah.
Hola y bienvenidos. Me llama es Raúl Diego.
Oh my gosh, Raul Diego!
Sí.
You come to present.
Oh, sí, sí.
I didn't know this is such a great surprise.
Y tonight, esta noche, tonight, as we say in Spanish, esta noche, yo, Raúl Diego, will be teaching you how to make the painting of the action scene. We've already done the still life. We've done the landscape and the self-portrait. Today we're going to do the action scene.
Ooh, action scene.
Now, as you know, here on Painting with Ideas, we don't use, when we paint, we don't use the tools of the sensor, los sensores.
No.
Los sensores, they try to paint with their eyes. They try to paint with their nose. They try to paint with their fingers and their hands. But yo, Raúl Diego, yo soy un intuitivo. Sí, intuitivo. I paint with my ideas. Okay, let's see. Action scene. What kind of action scene? Well, what's the most actiony scene? Your intuition tells you is action.
Speed.
Okay, that's not that.
The movie Speed.
No. Oh, Rachel, no. That's the sort of thing a censor would say. I know you're not a censor, eh? No. What did come to mind when you say action? The one right answer. A lion. But not just sitting there, it's an action scene. So let's use the intuition. What's a lion doing? Playing basketball. Now, that's intuition. I didn't see the lion with my eyes. I didn't play basketball with the lion with my hands. I intuitioned it. I use my intuition. Painting with ideas. Now we know the scene, okay? The scene is the basketball court where the lion is playing the basketball. So we have to draw the basketball court. I don't see any, but I know what shape basketball court is from my intuition. It's a rectangle. I'm going to take the first paint and make the rectangle like this. Okay. No, you're not at a basketball court right now. You're looking at a picture of one that's very photorealistic. Here's the thing. What else does my intuition tell me? Basketball court has circles like this. See? El court de basketball. And it's got a pole and a thing on it. Now,
are sensors good with basketball?
Los sensores, they can be good at playing basketball, maybe. They can be good at watching basketball, but they can't do any kind of paintings about it. They don't know how to use their ideas. All right, so this is a basketball court, but it's not an action scene yet. To have action scene, you have to have lions. Okay, so I'm going to change the color of paint that I am using. And today I decided to use this kind of paints tonight because it's a lot easier than the kind that you use with a brush. So anyway, remember the basketball court is somewhere. It's not just in nowhere. So we have to think, where is it? It's outside. So what do we need? We need some sky. What color is the sky? I don't have to look. If I were to look, it would be black. It's night. But they don't play basketball at night. Blue. That's the color. This is the sky. So now you can tell we're outside because there's some sky. See? How else do you know we're outside? A tree. What color is the tree? Green. And I'm going to even make two trees. Another tree, because this basketball court, I decided, is in the middle of a forest.
So it can be like a camp basketball ground.
It's a naturally occurring basketball court that grew there on its own after people had left the region alone for a long time.
For a long time?
Yes. See.
What's a long time to you?
It's like a week and a half, maybe.
A week and a half?
Oh,
Damn.
see. Okay, what color is a lion? If you want to have a good painting like me, you have to use the colores. But remember, you don't have to look at anything to know what color it is. You can decide. I know that in my picture, lions are the color that lions are. Yellow. Now a lion is, if you want to know how to paint a lion, the first thing you have to do is know what shape it is. It's the same shape as a dog, basically. It's like a loaf of bread with little legs on it. That's the same, but the part that's different, I'll get to in a second, okay? So here's the main part of the lion. Okay. Now this, right now, if you use your intuition and you look at the lion, you know this could be any animal still. It could be a horse, could be a dog, could be a lion. Because all animals look like this until you put the distinguishing parts on, okay?
How do you know it's a movement?
I make a little moving lines. I'll show you. You can make lines to make it look like it's moving. You'll see. I gotta put some blue around this line so you can see it better. So this is a regular yellow lion, but it's got a little bit of a blue halo around it, okay? Because it puts that on when it goes to play basketball, so it knows which team it's on.
So would you say the lion is intuitive?
This lion is not intuitive, no.
Oh, it's not?
No. Because why? Why? This lion is not making genius art like me. This lion is playing basketball, like a sensore.
Oh, like a sensore.
Yeah. Okay, lion. How is lion different than a dog? It's got a head with long hairs and the big teeth. Okay, let's show you. Roar. So lions have a big mouth, big teeth, like that, and like this. And the hair is very long, like a hippie.
You think that hippies usually wear their hair long?
Well, unless it's a Rapunzel. She is a long-haired girl, but actually very conservative.
Oh, wow.
Now, in basketball, you have to dribble the ball. I will show that the lion is dribbling the basketball by going like this. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It says he needs to be playing against somebody. He can't just play himself. So
that was going to be my next question, actually. Who is the lion playing with?
He's playing against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, see, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Wow.
Very tall.
Big guns.
I don't know if you know these, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he made up the El Sky Hook. And this lion, he likes to try the Sky Hook.
Oh.
But he's trying to
The lion is trying to skyhook, or
The lion wants to shoot the sky hook, but he's playing with the master. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar always block his shot.
He is tall.
Okay, he's done. Now my painting is done. You see, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has stolen the ball from the lion. It's an action picture, action painting. A lot of stuff going on here. If it's too intense, if you're too scared, look away for a moment. Well, what do you think this is? Probably $65,000, $70,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you used ink for the lion,
Well,
and I.
Okay, look. Let me just fix this one part. It would probably be $75,000. I think. If I fix this one part right there, see?
I gave you more blue, so you know it's the sky.
Yeah, right. Oh, you know what else we could do though? Kind of important. I forgot. Every painting, you need to put a sun in the corner like this. Okay. There we go. That's the sun. Now you know we're outside. Now you know we're outside. There's the sun. See? Okay. Look at that. That's good. That's a good picture. Okay. I'm going to do a special deal here. Okay. Now, the price for this, if you want to get these tomorrow, if you want to get these the next day, the price for this is $75,000. Okay. $75,000.
How would you like them to pay?
PayPal is fine.
Oh, PayPal is fine?
But listen, not only, if you want to buy tonight, I am affording a 15% discount. Now, 15% of 75,000, 7,500 plus 3,750. So we're looking at over $11,000 savings. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it right down to 62,000 if you buy tonight. Okay, tonight. That means you got 3 hours. 12:01 a.m. You got to pay the full price. A one-time sale. Remember, this is a smart investment too. It's you buy at 75, you sell 75 million.
I like that you even put the price tag on it so that the person who buys it will remember how much they paid
here's
for
why.
it.
Yeah, here's why. Because let's say you're an art collector, right? And you put a painting up on your wall, but somebody comes to your house, they don't know.
They don't know.
They like to think you just got it down at Aaron Brothers. You got a painting at Aaron Brothers.
Or Bath and Beyond.
Right, sí, la cama, la baño y biondo. Sí,
yep.
Sí.
It is a very white place.
What to remember though is when someone comes visit your house and see you have this painting on the wall, they will know it's not a normal painting.
No,
it's not a painting you got to put up on the hotel room. No, it is fine art made by a real intuitive genius. Raul Diego.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So cool. This is your current project?
Yeah, I'm currently looking at that. I really am proud of this picture.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah. I showed this picture the other day. I like this picture a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, it's time for me to have lots of hands and feet. That's what that guy's saying. Hey. Look how many feet and hands I have.
We both have folders like that, but yours is also a clipboard. How nice.
Yeah. I covered this from one of my dad's briefcases.
Yeah, and I have one of your dad's folders. So I pretend that I go to SC.
Cool.
A gathering for USC. I'm a fan. But I also root for, it's like I have to root for Berkeley too, because I mean we both have the Golden Bear as our mascot. Gotta rep that.
You know, I'm thinking about maybe starting Raul Diego Sports League. We'll see. Professional Raul Diego Sports League.
See, I love the idea of playing basketball with you, but I'm 5'2". So what kind of advice do you have with your idea? What kind of ideas can you come up with?
Okay, well, listen. This is why Raul Diego Sports League exists, okay? In Raul Diego Sports League, each team fields their own team in whatever sport they want, okay? So let's say, you would be good for horse racing because you are a short person.
I see how you're helping me.
So maybe you be part of a horse racing team. And then when you go to the match to compete against the other team, that's when you find out what sports you're playing in Raul Diego Sports League. You arrive, you might be playing baseball, you might be playing badminton. You find out when you get there.
Oh, you find out when you get there. So there's like all different kinds of sports.
All kinds of sports. Yeah.
That is such an intuitive idea.
And the thing is, of course, though, the Super Bowl at the end of every season of Raul Diego's Sports League is the top 2 finishing teams compete at mule water polo.
Water polo.
Yeah, you never play it during the season. That's one sport that teams never play during the season. It's reserved only for the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness. All that swimming?
What the horses?
Oh my gosh.
The horses swim.
The horses, they actually used to do that.
It's mule water polo. It's
mule?
It's mules. It's not horses. It's mules. Because here's why. What we've learned is that mules are better at doing the egg beater kick. What are they doing?
Doggy paddle.
No, that's not what they do in water polo. They do the egg beater kick. They take their 2 legs and go like this.
They do.
Make themselves stay above the water with their hands up like this.
I see now. Thank you.
Mules are better at that than horses.
Are you Raul Diego still? Or?
No, now I'm not me.
Oh.
Right, I sent Raul away.
Oh.
What happened was, he kind of looks like me. But when you stepped out for a second, he came in here and he told me there was an emergency down the street. That there was a child that had lost their sandwich and were weeping inconsolably. I needed to go help them find it. There's nobody down there. He was just shitting me. He tried to get rid of me for a minute because he wanted to give another one of his painting lessons.
Oh my goodness, Raul.
That's Spaniard.
That is so typical.
He's called the Beast of Barcelona.
The Beast of Barcelona.
The murderer of Madrid.
The murderer of Madrid. Wow, Raul Diego. No wonder his stuff is worth so much.
Yeah, he's not actually a murderer or a beast, but he likes to have alliterative nicknames. Zeta Black apartment. For if anyone's needs are special, it's Eric. He'll probably die a kid and proudly proclaiming as much. Hey, I don't have special needs, okay? I have special wants. It's different. Like drugs are what you call a special want. Mental retardation is a special need. Drugs are a special want.
They are. I take drugs.
Russell Girl. Russell
Gould.
Russell Gould.
He's like from Batman.
Oh.
He's in the first Batman.
Oh my God. Look. Oliver's ability fluid.
I like that's amazing.
That is so great, Oliver.
Isn't that?
Now I assume it happens randomly. You don't have any choice over it. Because if you could just choose those days, you could win the Olympics for sure. But if you enter the Olympics and it's random, then you might be trying to shot put from a wheelchair, or you might be shot putting with the most fit body in the world. Interesting. Maybe you would be a good inclusion in Raul Diego's Sports League.
Sure.
Raul Diego asked me to help him put together a sports league, so I'm helping him brainstorm about it a little bit. False sneeze? False sneeze.
I wasn't sure what that was.
Hey, has anybody else noticed this is my most metrosexual shirt?
I was just going to mention that.
Metrosexual.
Yeah, so metrosexual.
I put it on, I thought, this has got to be a girl shirt. Rachel says no, she thinks it's one of the shirts Spacey left here.
Yes, definitely Spacey's. Because actually there's like the blue shirt. Spacey's too. I can't wear it. It gets so hot. You can tell it's for like working out.
And nobody could understand it, Oliver, because in the prelim, in the qualifying, you set the world record with a 7-second 100-yard dash, which is amazing in qualifying. When you got to the Olympics and you actually ran the race, 25 seconds. That is significantly slower. How is it metrosexual? Because it's like, it doesn't, it's a bit of a weird material, first of all. It's not regular, it's a short material.
No, it's
like stretchy or something. Like
yeah,
a girl's shirt.
there's definitely, can I read the back of it?
Yeah. It's not like my normal cotton shirts.
No.
It's made of like elastic or something.
It has no.
Like, feel how stretchy it is.
Yeah, it is. It's got lycra. That's what it is. Lycra.
And then because it's so like stretchy, it squeezes onto you, kind of like sticks to your body.
Yeah.
Normally, it's not possible to see
Polyester.
My pecs at all.
Oh my god, no wonder. And spandex.
On spandex, okay.
Polyester.
Well, it has spandex and that's what makes it metrosexual. It's tight.
Yeah.
It's tight on me, so you can see the shape of my pecs.
Yes, you can.
And I'm not cut in any sense of the word, so I sure has to be really tight for you to see my pecs.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's polyester and.
But I actually like
spandex.
it. I like the way it looks. I'm surprised because I don't.
I like it.
I'm not normally one who likes tight stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I hate skinny jeans.
How does it feel on you?
And that's the thing. I like it.
It looks good on you.
It feels comfortable. I like the way it looks too.
You know why? It hits your shoulder like right there. That's a key thing.
It is perfectly fitting in that regard. That's true.
Mm-hmm. They say that that's a big way of telling if something is fitting you if the corners of the shirts like hit your outer. Because if it's in, it's too tight. If it's like going over, it's too big.
Well, the other thing, remember, the other thing that's metrosexual about me right now is this is not how I naturally look. Obviously, this takes a lot of work. A lot of foundation here, a lot of blush, a lot of rouge,
and a lot of masks.
A lot of masks.
Cucumbers on the eyes too. We've done that.
Both lipstick, lip balm, and lip chapper, which is a less commonly used stick. If you put on too much chapstick and your lips get too unchapped, you put a little bit of chapper on there to make them more chapped.
It does.
You need a little bit of chapping stick.
Chapping stick does have like this alcohol in it, and it dries out your lips, making you want to wear more of
chapstick.
it. Mm-hmm.
But that's chapstick. That's chap reducing stick. I'm talking about a new product I've come out with called the chapping stick.
The chapping stick.
What it does,
tell me more about this.
It removes the moisture and oils from your lips to make them chapped.
Oh my goodness.
Because if you really are fashion forward like me, you know something that not people are less further behind the curve don't know.
Yeah.
Which is that perfect puckered pouty lips have just a hint of chap to them.
Well, I want to show you what I have to work with, and you can give me the critique on.
Okay, let's see. This is called, what does that say?
Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Lip Treatment.
Let's try it out. Okay, product testing, product review here. Okay, first problem with the product, can't open it.
That is a
Difficult
problem.
to open. Not fun. You're gonna frustrate me, lip product. Can you open this? I can't.
Yes.
It's childproof.
See, that's it is childproof, I guess. There's also weed in it.
Okay, now look. Okay, so strike one, hard to open. But once it's open, it's a circle. That counts as a shape, so it gets 1 point for that.
Strong and beautiful. This guy.
I'd say my lips are 40% more kissable than they were 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I would agree. 40% more. Yeah, now I have it on my lips. Very nice.
Yes. The thing is, we don't like cosmetics tested on animals, but we do let the cat test her cosmetics on us. That's where I got this scar from. Turns out that chemical wasn't good for your skin.
Ow. I used to rip the skin off of my lips. It was a bad habit. Bad habit.
Well, if you're a smoker, you've had this experience before. It's horrible when it happens. Nowadays, I'm super careful, so it almost never actually gets to the consequence of it. But when a cigarette sticks to your lip and you pull it off quickly, you will tear a chunk of lip off, and it'll hurt. Like a little, you'll tear a layer of skin off, right? So nowadays, anytime my cigarette sticks to my lips, I very carefully go. I try to get it to come off, because I did that too many times when I was younger, and eventually I learned, okay, Eric, when a cigarette sticks to your lip, you do not just pull it off. I'm tired of making my lip chap thing there with that. It hurts.
Yeah, I used to, in the wintertime, I was always in the pursuit of the best like lip balm or lip salve, because I would chew on my lips if they were chapped. Like, they're a little chapped now. I can feel them.
Nowadays I have a stem where I chew on the inside of my cheek or the inside of my lip. Like this kind of a stimulation thing. Mm-hmm. But when I was in middle school, I had a stem where I chewed this knuckle on my right hand. You can still see it looks different a little bit, even years later, right?
Yeah.
I constantly chew on it. And it got to be like this big, fat, no feeling in it thing. Like, it's a big callus, basically, on my middle finger knuckle.
You know what I used to do? I think which would be called with stemming.
Yeah.
I used to chew on wood. So I used to bite. So I would watch TV with my mom, and my head would be at the base of the board, and I'd be like, all my teeth were coming in and stuff. So I got bite marks. There's bite marks all over my parents' bed from me chewing on it.
The inside of my mouth it goes through cycles that go along with my speed bottle. So one of the things that doing amphetamines does is it makes you thwack your mouth, like make this sort of stimmy movement-y thing.
Yes,
right?
I have heard that.
And so, in fact, it sticks with you even after you stop doing speed. So it's like I didn't used to do that at all until I was a meth addict. After being a meth addict, I still do that even when I'm not on any speed. So it's one of the it's sort of one of the ways that I permanently changed myself with drugs, but it's a very minor thing, right? So it's not like I feel any particular regret about it. It's an acknowledgement that that's where that came from. Stimming means it's actually it's short for self-stimulating. Oh. It's used in special ed. When I was a special ed teacher, it's a term we use all the time to talk about an autistic kid who's doing this. It's called stimming. I used to think I would like to own a racehorse one day and name it Stimming on the Lights.
Stimming on the Lights?
I think it would be a good.
Why?
Because when the horse comes down the finish line part of the track, the grandstand lights are on.
Oh. And
so it's sort of like I just thought it was a cool name for a racehorse.
Yeah, it is.
Stimming on the horse. Stimming on the lights. It's usually used for self-soothing, or it's just automatic, not really purposed at all. So you could say it's self-soothing, but I've noticed in me with my fourth slot SI that I do a lot of things to make me notice my SI, I guess you'd say. So it's like smoking cigarettes as an example, going like this. I'm sitting there and I'm going like this for some reason. Yeah, why are you doing that, Eric? I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just feeling my body and stuff like that,
I wonder if that's with SI.
It's weak SI.
For me too, because I adjust myself a lot. I'll be talking to people and I'm adjusting myself and people will be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just like my bones crack.
Yeah.
I like to.
But you're not very STEMmy, actually.
No.
And the reason is because eighth slot is it's there to make sure to keep your NI environment clean.
True.
But SI fourth is weak and conscious. That's why I'm constantly bouncing my knees, and it's like I'm reminding myself that my body exists.
But your mom you said your mom was a knee bouncer too.
I didn't. She wasn't a knee bouncer.
She used to. I noticed her.
Oh, well, I mean, once she got into dementia stuff, she developed a lot of stimming habits. But she didn't have any of those stimming habits prior to dementia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was fairly still person. Like all SI DOMs are. You watch an SI DOM watching TV, they'll settle themselves into a comfortable spot and probably stay there for a while. Like even if we're watching a show that I'm totally into, I'm standing up, sitting down every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Just because, and it's not because I want to go smoke a cigarette. It's because I've been sitting here for 2 minutes. Now I want to stand up and have a change.
Yeah.
You picked your nails pretty badly. Do you have anxiety? Gunnar Erickson has level 4 anxiety. I've got level 1 anxiety. Zay Black, what's your level of anxiety from 1 to 10? Gunnar Erickson, what's your level? You don't have to take my
I'd
assignment.
say -5. I go half.
5. What do you think my level of anxiety is?
3.
What do you think makes me anxious?
Your dad.
Yeah, my dad makes me a little anxious.
Stupidness. Big news. Like stupid news.
Yeah, that pisses me out. Oprah's definitely an ENFJ.
Yes.
And I'm remembering now the rich vein of ore that lawnmower laid at my feet tonight. There's a guy out there who has successfully put together a career for himself in which people with either polar TI or polar NI pay this guy to look at them and pretend to be doing something.
That's such a scam.
It's crazy. It's like, if I were that guy and I had that plan going into it, I would tell a bunch of people, I say, you want to see it? You want to see a serious magic trick? I'm going to convince people to pay me just to look at them. You can't get that. You're not going to get people to pay you to look at them.
If this guy can do that, you can be president.
Right. If Bracco can have a symposium full of rich idiots paying him to look at them in Hawaii, then I certainly can become president. That's got to be easier than what Bracco accomplished.
It definitely is. Eric is an overflowing fountain of FI. Only when it calls for it, though. You are when it calls for it. That's how your FI, like.
I mean, my FI is a lucky mentally disabled child, which is to say, even though it was a mentally disabled child, it was raised in such a place that it never experienced very rarely experienced negative consequences for being Jean-Luc Picarded. And so it has that sort of enviably unshakable optimism of a Down syndrome person who's sure they're the coolest kid in school. You know?
You were the coolest kid in school.
I definitely was not.
Well, at least you did have
I had a good school time. Yeah. It wasn't bad.
No. I mean, good parents, good family.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and that's not, it's good that you're happy about that, because I think ENTPs, if not treated right, like it's easy for them to go the other way.
I think ENTPs are actually an extremely fragile type.
Yeah.
In terms of many of us don't make it, end up homeless and end up dead young, end up getting consumed by their intoxication habits.
Yeah.
Or just getting so bitter that they become like a miscreant or a malefactor.
Yeah. Always like on the outskirts, feeling like they're always on the outskirts, that like no one understands them. But it's not true. Gunnar Erickson, that is relatable. I am not sure I should express that. LOL. My FI is a toddler with schizophrenia. Mine is...
I would like to live on the inskirts of town. You always hear people living on the outskirts of town, but I'd rather be inskirts.
Right? Yeah. Me too. I think I'm the inskirt.
You're in the inskirts.
Yeah.
You're in the inskirts of my town, baby.
Yeah. I've stepped over the line a few times.
What line is that?
Of the skirt.
Oh, the in and outskirt line?
Yeah.
Right. Well.
Yeah.
You have the key to my emotional city, Rachel.
Oh.
You're like a superhero who stopped a supervillain in my emotional city, and you got the key from the emotional city's mayor.
Thanks, baby.
And it's an oversized key that doesn't actually open any doors.
Oh my gosh! And his heart is so big. Look at make a fist. Look at that heart. All those emotions are in that heart. Oh, I feel so honored.
A minimum of 5 emotions.
My gosh.
It could be even more than that.
Oh, thanks, baby.
In the inskirts of the outskirts of the skirt.
Sometimes there's layers of skirts too. Depend on the outfit.
I mean that's how Victorian women preserved their virtue. It wasn't that they weren't, just as famished for sexual conquest as modern day women. It's just that to have sex with a Victorian woman, it took you an hour to get her undressed. Mm-hmm. She and most men would give up before that. It's like when I was a teenager, and women used to wear those kind of bras that have the clip on the back. If it was one of those kind that clips in like 3 places, as some of them do, and not just one little thing, boy, that would be if it's dark, it would be like, okay, this is a serious barrier to entry here. I cannot figure this fucking thing out.
Yeah, it is a puzzle.
Well, imagine if they're Victorian women and they've got one of those squeezy thing corset on. We've got a corset, a bow dice.
Oh my god!
A hoop skirt, an underskirt, and an underskirt.
Oh my god! There's so much. And then there's the thing that pushes up the boobs the whole time, and it's wire. And you have like a cotton like lace thing all the way up here too. Oh my god! All those buttons. Some of them had a bustle.
Well, and the thing, of course, once you get all those clothes off, it's like, Jesus Christ, woman, you are festering that gash in a sweat box.
It was a trend. So it's
olden day version of cockblocking.
It was the Victoria style, because Queen Victoria went into deep depression when Prince Albert died, and it lasted for like such a long time that it was an era of like mourning. She created a trend of like celibacy, I guess, or like modesty. I'm not sure. I
mean, the thing is, if in fact you were dressed like that, the getting dressed part takes such a long time.
Oh my god!
That when you get undressed, you're not going to get undressed until you get undressed for the whole day. So it's
right. Exactly.
There's no way you're going to have sexual intercourse with a Victorian lady unless you're next to her at bedtime. It's not like you're going to convince her to sneak off and have a quickie in the back room at the society party. It's like, I say, Guinevere, would you go for a brief walk with me in the garden? Well, you're not going to be able to get anything accomplished there, because if you try to go, if you're like, hey, let's go behind this tree, I'm going to take these clothes off of you. Well, your society people are going to come find you eventually because you're going to still be trying to take your clothes off. And then you're going to get in big trouble because back in the olden days, sex was very bad.
Yeah, it was. In the Victorian times were mostly about work. No fun and play. Mostly about work.
No, Zaylan Black, they fainted so easily because they understood that real women are constantly fainting at the first sight of distress.
They did faint a lot because they couldn't breathe. Oh.
What usually causes women to faint in the movies? In the olden days, women used to faint in the movies more than they do now. What would usually cause them? Some sort of surprise, right? Like a piece of bad news would cause a woman to faint, or
a piece of bad news. Like if you that happens all the time in movies when moms get letters from their kid died or something.
Or it could be that she sees a mouse in the old cartoons.
Yeah.
In the old cartoons, there was always the housewife, farm wife lady, who when she see a mouse, she'd scream, jump up on top of the chair, pull up her skirt, and try hitting the floor with a broom.
Yes, totally.
Because for whatever reason, it used to be that women were absolutely terrified of mice.
Yep, my grandma La Pelosa was terrified of mice. Terrified.
In Temple City, one time there was a mouse in the house that the cat had got, and I tried to save it. I didn't want to just kill it, so I scooped it up on this paper and was trying to run off the paper. And I was trying to sort of use gravity to keep it on the paper while I was taking it outside. And the way it ran, I saw for the first time. I was like, "Oh, that is exactly what it looks like in the cartoons. That's how a mouse runs." It's like those cartoonists did such a great job. When you look at a mouse up close, and it's running like this, and it's got these ears, and it looks exactly like the way they make the mouse run in the cartoon. Of course, not being a city person, all those chicken jokes and stuff in the old cartoons and stuff about livestock, it all went over my head when I was a kid. When I got chickens in Laverne, I was like, oh my God, that's why the chickens are like that in the cartoons, because that's what they're really like.
Yeah.
The
they
hens,
make fun of the animals.
And you know
their traits.
How the hens would always be they'd show the hen going, and then picking up her feathers and scooting down the eggs and stuff. And how they'd look all self-important.
Yeah.
The chickens totally act like that all the time.
They do.
They're fun. Chickens are cool, but
they're fun.
I don't want any more chickens.
I don't want, please.
Yeah, I don't want chickens.
Thank you.
They're fun, but you gotta understand. You gotta understand basically what kind of operation you're running. We're not running that kind of operation here. In other words, we want to preserve the ability to travel. We want to preserve our free time without having too many responsibilities or things to take care of. Rachel's already annoyed by the fact that we have 3 animals to feed, because 2 of them she has a very conflicted FE relationship with. Rachel is in some sort of serious spiritual battle all the time over whether or not it's okay for her to betray Pee-Pee by feeding Trouble. It's so silly. But
I gave her I saw Pee-Pee's face. It was like,
well, you remember though, Rachel, she is an FI dom. So
true, it'll get over. She'll get over.
She may be revealing just a fraction of the deep pool of emotions.
You're right. You're right. Yup.
Who, the Sherpas? Is anyone talking about the Sherpas?
All those petticoats and stuff do remind me of Pirates of the Caribbean too. I mean, as well.
Because see, as far as the brows go, Rachel's brows that she wears, they don't have any clip on them at all. There's no fastener. It's just like a
bralette, they call them.
Bralette.
Right, no, I'm really stony. It's good.
I want to smoke a couple bowls too, and then I think we'll probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
It's been 3 hours already. Time flies, huh?
No.
It's 9:03.
Oh, it's early too.
Where's my bong? Oh, there it is. It's nice having 2 bongs. I should have gotten a bong a long time ago.
Living where? I'm sorry for the coughing. That's it.
This is really coffee weed.
Yeah.
It's the kind of weed I almost want to roll a spleef out of. Half tobacco, half weed, and smoke it like a joint.
I learned about those through watching British television. British television.
From what I understand about the source of this virus is that it's sort of a biotech security failure. There's no reason to believe that China was working with that virus as a weapon. It makes a lot more sense. I think they were working as that virus to generate a drug that would make a lot of money. Because there's a lot of viruses that have been troublesome that link to COVID. SARS and baby SARS, as they call it, the other SARS, and the bird flu, as they called it. SARS, the bird flu, the swine flu, and COVID are all variants of the same kind of virus. And all those viruses have this interaction with the immune system that makes them more troublesome than a regular thing. So it's like one reason why COVID actually is a little bit more concerning than your regular flu is that it has this sort of binary trigger. If your immune system overreacts, it can be quite dangerous for you. But if your immune system is normal, it can be basically no problem at all. So, being put on ventilators will kill you for sure. If in fact you get COVID and you go to the hospital, do not allow them to put you on a ventilator. All the smart doctors have ceased prescribing that as a treatment because it kills people. 80% of the people on ventilators die, which is higher than the rate of people who die who aren't on ventilators, no matter how, even if you narrow it to the group of like the most severe patients who are on ventilators and the most severe patients who aren't, the highest single population of deaths is patients on ventilators. Now, that would be the case regardless, but I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, of course that's the case, Eric. But that's not the case. It's actually the ventilators that are causing the deaths or making them more likely. And even if you don't die on a ventilator, ventilators will permanently give you serious breathing problems. A ventilator forces air into your lungs beyond that which it can take, and it's not good for you at all. This is the ventilator for me. But the other weird thing is there are some basic solutions that if you are experiencing COVID symptoms and having trouble breathing, what should you do? It's a very simple solution. You should go jogging. Make yourself breathe really hard. Try to work out as hard as you can. Because the thing is, when you do that, then your lungs do what they got to do to clear the shit out, whatever. But that's what I did when I was very sick after, I guess it was after Hawaii. It may have been after Christmas. I'm not sure. I think it was after Hawaii. But, and I was having trouble breathing. One night I was just like, okay, this is really frustrating. I'm having a lot of trouble catching my breath. And I am right now too, but I think it's because of this weed. I think I overdid it with this weed yesterday and this morning, and it's super coffee weed, and it's just like, ugh. Anyway, and I almost passed out jogging like when I finally stopped, I pushed myself as far as I could. I stopped, and I'm like, I really had trouble catching my breath. But once I had done that, then it moved immediately to the next stage. Started clearing the shit out and breathing much better after that. It was a perfect idea. This is the thing, philosophical thinker. We all have internalized a lot of false assumptions that lead us to assume things that are sometimes the exact opposite of the truth. So, and it's usually a cumulative effect of little wrongnesses. And those wrongnesses are generally derived from either trying to apply particulars to a universal or vice versa. So it's like, okay, diet is something that you cannot meaningfully make any statements like this food is good for you or this food is bad for you. Those statements are all false and lies. Okay. The reason is because what food you should eat is specific to you and your metabolism and your body and your taste and your whatever. So what's healthy for me to eat is a lot of fat and protein and cheese and butter and all that kind of stuff because I have a very high metabolism and I have trouble keeping on weight even. And I get starving if I eat anything less substantial than that. And so people assume that because they've heard so many instances of a category error, that to say giving advice about diet is a category error. You can't give advice about diet because every individual person is the only person who can accurately ascertain what their diet ought to be. Because they're the only one who knows how hungry they are. So your diet is predicated entirely on subjective data. So it's if you are trying to give advice about diet and saying, here are some things about nutrition or food that are universal, you are making a category error. There are no such things. So one thing that we do is when we realize that there's a false assumption, it's a good idea to challenge it. So for example, people assume McDonald's must be unhealthy. Why? Not because there's any actual people saying independently this thing about McDonald's is unhealthy, but because of things unrelated to McDonald's in specific. In general, people wanted there to be they wanted to be able to universalize diet and nutrition. So they started saying a bunch of bullshit. Oh, you should eat raw foods, you should eat vegan, you should eat whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so then people internalized not any of those specific arguments, but the false assumption as a frame that in fact food is either healthy or unhealthy based on what kind of food it is. So, but that basic assumption is a lie. However, if you've internalized that assumption and you're looking for something that would qualify as unhealthy, you're going to look for things that have meat. I mean, basically food pyramid stuff, right? Why would a McDonald's burger be unhealthy? When I ask people that, they say, well, it's got a lot of fat and salt and stuff in it. But you think it's more unhealthy than a burger you make at home. Well, yeah. Well, why though? They have no idea. Never thought about it. I'm saying the ego seeks distinction, but that's not really saying anything. To manifest an identity is to manifest distinction from that which is not you. So it's like if I were to sit down with somebody here who plays the bass and somebody who plays the drums and say, okay, bass player and drummer put down basic four bar blues, and then I just noodled over it guitar soloing. Okay, that would not have any identity really. You wouldn't remember it as a specific song, but just as jamming out, because it wouldn't really be a specific song, and it would just be sort of non-original blues scale jamming. Okay, so that's an example of an entity. To say that an ego seeks superiority is to commit a reification fallacy, first of all, because egos don't seek things. The psychological model that presents an ego as something manifestly part of an identity, but not really subject to the identity's will. So Edgar Toll's kind of ignoring that. But regardless, the fact that the best songs are the ones that are distinct, memorable, timeless, that you never mistake for anything else, that exists independently of the style of the artist, but is a song that whether you encounter it as a track, whether you encounter somebody playing it on the guitar, whether you encounter it as sheet music and piece it out yourself, you still realize, oh, wow, this song really pops. Because what's good about it is inherent to its identity, not to its presentation. This does link back to the question here, Bubble Puppy. I'm coming around here. So the point is this. When an individual is manifest most optimally, they are manifesting their distinction from that which is not them. They're also manifesting their distinction when they're functioning less optimally, but presumably they're not owning their distinction. They're trying to manifest somebody else's distinction and co-opt it or something like that. So it is true that as a healthy person, I'm going to draw distinctions between myself and others or other things all the time, things that I identify with and things that I don't identify with. But if I'm also a good person, I'm going to be specifically drawing distinctions between what is right and wrong. And here's where my way is right and here's where their way is wrong. And also, if I'm being fair about it, the same thing when I'm wrong and they're right. So is that my ego seeking superiority? No, that's my identity manifesting as an identity does. It's being what an identity is. An identity is a holistic thing that has a name rather than just a description, and that is distinct for what it is permanently, not just what it's doing at the moment. So here's the thing. What I would say is the reason it occurred to me to do that jogging thing, I didn't come up with the basic concept of it. I actually got it from a movie. It may have been a Woody Allen movie where there's an old lady. I'm not sure what movie it was, but there's an old lady and she's old and lonely kind of. She has a heart problem. The doctor keeps telling her, you got to take care of your heart. You got to be real careful. You got a heart problem. And so she's like, I'm going to kill myself by going jogging upstairs every day around New York City until I have a heart attack and die. And what happens? Oh, she's the healthiest she's ever been. It's like, that's just a conceit from a movie. But to me, it was probably the source of the idea of, well, you should go jogging when you can't breathe well. That was probably the source of my idea. It was the same idea. It's just applied to my own situation instead of the one in the movie. Is that generally a good approach with life as a whole? No, because most things aren't misunderstood as badly as SI is. Hi, Eric Moore. Vote for Boothead 2020, huh? Okay, Boothead.
Oh, hey, Eric Moore. Long time no see, indeed.
I have no idea who you are. I have no idea. I have no idea who Eric Moore is. Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It has been a long time.
I have no idea who you are.
Oh, no. I'm cleaning out my bong. Zaylen Black. Sorry.
So it's just about SI stuff. What I've determined is that as a society, we've been trained to think that some professional can better tell us how we are than we can tell ourselves. Oh, you're the Yaris guy. It's Yaris, Eric.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Eric, I guess you didn't remember. I changed your last name to Yaris. And so we think that a doctor knows better than we do about how we are. The fuck?
I went to a sensible doctor once, and I told him about my hospitalizations, and he asked me what happened before, and I told him that I was working and I hadn't been sleeping. He was like, anyone would go crazy after that. I was like, thank you. He checked for my vitals, made sure I was okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've got people devoted towards trying to turn your difficulty into a pathology, then that's what's going to happen. They're gonna frame it that way the whole time. That's what basically happened to Rachel.
Yeah.
But she had a problem, which was I need to stop this meltdown thing from happening, right?
Yeah.
But instead of being properly relating to her, which is helping her to solve it as a problem, they wanted to convert it into a pathology for which she needed ongoing treatment.
Correct.
So that they can continually pathologize her. But you know what happens when you're trying to be wicked to somebody? Remember this. One of your relatives might start going out with Eric. And then you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because now it's like Rachel's brother, basically, he's got to run scared of any family event that I might be at. And if I am at it there, he's got to be on his absolute fucking super best behavior because he knows he makes one mistake, I'm going to shame the living fuck out of him.
Yeah.
I'm going to publicly shame the living fuck out of him. And he's an ENFJ, so he's not going to like that. And he knows I'm going to win too because he's an ENFJ. Yeah. So he's my beneficiary type.
He doesn't even know how much he's benefiting from you right now.
Well, what he does know is that he remains and will remain in my long-term sights. So he's never going to be able to be comfortable. I mean,
that's how it was for me at home.
And your mom is also desperate to avoid talking with me about anything. You know, she's gotten a bit of a pass in the sense that she can talk to me or around me without me calling her out on anything, provided she doesn't do anything new at the moment, because it just sort of worked out that way. I guess the way the field of play went or something. But but when I do have a problem, boy, is she MIA, buried herself in a bunker underneath the ground to hide from it. Mm-hmm. That's how you know someone's not well-intentioned, when they're trying to hide from Eric. Mm-hmm. They're wicked. I'm not trying to say Rachel's mom's all wicked or anything, okay? No. Like I am conflicted about her. But I am saying if she's avoiding being held to account by me, that's a very bad sign. That almost always correlates with wickedness. If I'm trying to hold you to account and you're running away from me, then there's a very good chance you're not a very good person.
It's true. He doesn't even know most of it. He doesn't not like I don't talk. I don't talk about it.
And I don't want it. And that's the thing. Rachel understands, and I think accepts. I don't know if she's happy about it or not, but I think she understands that. She tells me a story about her suffering abuse. That when she does, she's entitled to do that if she feels to do so. She chooses to do so, but she knows that I carry it with me forevermore, and that I will. You know, if she tells me a story that would make me mad, then it's guaranteed that several times over the course of the next few months, I will wake up mad about it.
Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna see. You already have.
No, I have. I know. So, well, Rachel, what I'm saying is, I'm sure it's worse than what I know. I'm sure there's lots more examples that would make me mad.
You'll see.
And I appreciate you not telling them to me, because I'm already sold on your vision here in general.
I know.
And the specific details actually hurt me a lot, surprisingly. It's like when people sometimes, like, I'm typing them or whatever, and they'll tell me a sad story from their childhood. And it'll stick with me for a long time. And it bothered me for a long time because it makes me mad, because obviously it's like why I can't watch or read any articles about child abuse, animal abuse, or rape, or specifically gang rape is the worst, you know? So it's like I can't read those articles about India. They're so terrible because they stick with me for a long time. I can't read articles about awful parents who treated their children like man, because it sticks with me a long time. I have mostly not very battle experienced FI. You know, it's in some sense, one might imagine a scene in a movie where there's a really sheltered, like rich girl who's through circumstance change now has to start a job and is working.
Yeah.
There's comedy about her being so entitled. Now she's got to touch trash, like that kind of comedy or whatever. If we imagine something like that, that's kind of like my FI. My FI has been fairly sheltered from the painful realities of the world. And I've operated under some very false and very overly optimistic assumptions. Like, well, I'm like for a long time, both that people always there was a long time where I used to think that if somebody said they didn't understand me, that they were just dissembling to try to provoke me. Because it took me a long time to understand, to genuinely internalize the fact, anyway, that it's not just an FE thing that people are doing. They actually don't process language that quickly, or they don't process that much language that quickly, or something. So when you're FE third, you're worried so much about what other people think about you that you afford them and the benefit of the doubt way beyond what they deserve. So it's like, if what really matters is what the audience thinks, then the audience must be a bunch of genius, brilliant people who are, after all, they're the ones who are entitled to sit in judgment of me. So they must be even better at everything that I'm good at than I am. But that's not true. It's like, it's a weird kind of well, first of all, it doesn't make any sense, like from a percentages perspective. Why would I should be average because I'm average like everybody else, right? But it doesn't work that way. Why should I have this life instead of some other horrible life that people have? If when I was younger, and I'd say, so if I think to myself, well, maybe you're really smart, Eric, I would say to myself, that's extremely unlikely that with all these people around here, that you genuinely are being too complicated for them to understand. Very, very unlikely, Eric, that it's impossible. In fact, it bears no weight of scrutiny to imagine that you really are. The reason why these people are not communicating effectively with you is because you're being too smart for them. That's an awfully flattering interpretation of things, Eric. I'm pretty sure that's bullshit.
Well, sometimes it is.
The fact is, it's not bullshit. It's the truth. But it
is the truth.
Bipolar means that I am opposed fundamentally to narratives that make me look good being accepted as the truth, without spending a lot of time saying this narrative is serving dark interests. In other words, it's serving what I want. When I'm most right, I am respecting most those things that I don't want and giving them the most fair treatment. So it's like, if I don't want this to be true, then, like, let's say, I wish it weren't true that I had big ears. Then any piece of evidence that suggested to me that I had regular sized ears, I would just be, Eric, you're cherry picking. That is not representative of the normal evidence. That suggests you have regular ears. You want to believe that, and that's wrong of you. And so you need to accept the fact that you're cherry picking evidence, and most of the evidence suggests you do have big ears, and you need to dismiss the exceptions evidence as just what's that word? Anomalies.
Yeah.
But of course, if you have that much of a frame of reference, you're that much battling against bias, you end up being biased against yourself.
Yes, I was just gonna say that.
And I was for a long time, and eventually I one part of my growth arc after I quit drinking was when I said, okay, you know what? It's okay to there is something called false modesty, and you're not going to do it. That was a moment of growth for me. No more false modesty.
Yeah, PP agrees. Oh.
There are plenty of things you're incredibly shitty at, Eric, that you can be genuinely modest about. There's that, right?
Loves you.
It's a true statement.
Love you. Yes, we do.
All right, I'm gonna wrap this up now. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah,
just yammering. But I think I'll wrap it up. Because other things to do, not a whole lot of engagement at the moment. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it anyway. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here.